Hello, we are live. I'm here with myself, Cosma, as usual. Loon is joining us, and our special guest, Samson, from all the way across the pond in England. Samson, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Nice.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Thanks for coming on. We were wanting to get a perspective of the English mindset, what's going on, I suppose, on the ground in terms of mood, and your opinion of different things. Current events, but I'm actually kind of curious as to how you came to the Lotus Eaters. How does one get that gig?
That's a tale as old as time. Unemployment. Unemployment is a bitch. I was suffering from that affliction for a large amount of time, and then after about 3 months of continuous rejections and getting to final stages, only to be told I didn't have enough experience for the most bare minimum of entry-level positions, even though I had more than enough experience, according to their... Okay, yeah, no, I'll stop. No, I'm getting angry about that again.
We know about that. We know about that here.
Several months of suffering, and I will use the term suffering as it was suffering. It was not mentally good in any way. Yeah, long stints, weeks on the sofa going, what the fuck is going on with my life? But, oh yeah, apologies for swearing. I'm
to swear. That's fine.
My Britishness will come out when I'm trying to be emotive.
You're free to speak as you like on here. I think I will probably never monetize this channel unless that's a barrier towards getting viewers. But I think people should just say whatever they want.
All right, all right.
Just whatever's available within the context of England.
Immediately, you just hear delete. Ooh, we're saying those, but no, give it 10 years. We'll see.
All right. So, long-term unemployment, not very fun, and then Hail Mary, random chance, watching a Lotus Eaters video as I usually do. They say, "Oh, we're looking for people to do video editing and producing. Go and check the job applications below." And I sort of went, "You know what? I've got nothing to lose. Why not? I've been watching these guys for years now. I might as well just try because I'm not going to."
That's awesome.
Well, I do have nothing to lose other than getting more depressed. So I just applied, and then I was invited to have a job interview the next day, which I was like, "Hang on a second, this is a little bit strange." Usually after 8 months. And then
they're not jerking me around. What's happening?
No. Then I had my interview, and I was like, "Oh, they actually want me to see if I'm interested in a producer role instead of the video editor role I applied for." I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I can do that." If anything, my skill set is more suited for producing like live stream content and videography, that kind of stuff, than it was video editing, because I've only ever done video editing as a necessity to enjoy playing with cameras. Basically, it is a means to the end for me to play with cameras. But I then went home after the interview feeling quite positive, because they were quite positive with me. And then I'd opened the front door, sat on the sofa, just opened a can of beer, because I was like, this isn't going anywhere. I'm gonna have to wait a month for this. And I got a phone call from the manager going, "Can you start tomorrow?" And I sort of I immediately said yes, put the phone down, I said I would say I attempted a backflip. I threw myself onto the sofa in what's the opposite of rage?
Triumph.
Joy.
Triumph, joy, yeah. And then I drank 3 cans of beer in celebration.
That's awesome. I like the
Yeah, I like the idea of envisioning your fist wrapped around them in like a bundle, like That's I was unemployed for 9 months in 2017, and that's how it felt to get something.
Yep.
Yeah. And I hear you about the job skills stuff not matching up. There's a lot of chicanery with job listings, and I think that's a global problem for the first world. The third world probably has the opposite problem.
But your background is in video stuff, right? Like you have an arts background.
Oh, as in me?
Yeah.
So I went to university to study film. So I have a bachelor's of arts in film, I did pass with first class honors. No, I'm very proud of that. It took me that's also through my second and third years being stuck in COVID lockdowns, draconian, evil COVID lockdowns.
Freaking COVID.
I know for a fact I was one of the only people on my course who actually submitted a final film for the course because I pulled my finger out and actually made some creative decisions. So instead of making the film about some esoteric thing about loneliness and sorrow, which I was going to go to a Slovakian lake in the middle of Europe and do a bunch of landscape shots and write poetry and all that stuff, because I was playing the game at university and I was like, what are the lecturers going to absolutely love me for? So I did write my dissertation on the film Tora 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 and Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor film, and the excuse I gave myself is that I'll just talk about racism, American on Japanese racism, and they'll love that. The lecturers loved it, and they did. But yeah,
it's coming. I'm sorry, I was gonna say it's coming back. The racism.
I was gonna say
racism's coming back.
Yes, finding my time, learning the skills. How can I be better racist?
As how do we do it like the old folks are traditional? I'm a traditional racist, and it's funny because I will catch different things about British attitudes, English attitudes that. So now we're going to get into the real meat of the subject here, if you don't mind. And there's a weird British attitude they have with race relations in regards to Americans, because of course the story is that the American GIs had to be told that you have to eat and live alongside the other American GIs who happen to be black, right? And the English just more or less had to sit us down and lecture us and say like, no, you have to get along now. The race relations in America have changed a lot since then. And I wonder if it's going to open up questions of like, what was the right thing to do? What wasn't? But like, am I pretty accurate with that assessment? I'm just going based on what Carl Benjamin has said in the past.
So to a certain extent, yes. That sort of World War II propaganda video with the American guy going, "This is how you're supposed to drink warm beer." No, we don't drink warm beer.
Oh, really?
Well, some people do, but it's disgusting. So why would you? Sorry.
Depends on the beer.
Yeah. Actually, to be fair, yeah, some beers do taste better warm, but that's a very rare occasion.
Yeah, I don't drink those beers usually.
But no, it's quite a. We have such a different dynamic when it comes to race relations here, as in, we didn't get mass influxes of people of different skin colors until much later in our historical timeline.
Right.
It was post-war when we received thousands and thousands and thousands of Afro-Caribbean people, not just as part of the Windrush, but just as a slow increase in liberal attitudes to immigration. Whereas America has essentially grown up with it since the inception of the slave trade, and the fact that it's, well, I don't hate using the term nation of immigrants. Technically, that's kind of true. You were a nation of settlers that turned into a nation of settlers accepting immigrants.
We had a lot of waves of immigration and also territory expansions, like the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah,
did afford us like the French Quarter down south. We had waves of, I know, right? They sort of dispersed. I think these French. All right, if you want to see what happens when a Frenchman just goes fully feral, like the epinephrine is just coursing through their body, like the fox fur goes from black to its wild red. That's a Cajun. These are these are like swamp living. It's not too dissimilar from that scene from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie where I have to go to like the swamps to talk to Tiagama, whatever her name is, Tia Dalma. And yeah, it's pretty wild. A lot of those people are lots of fun.
Yep.
Speaking
of
racist,
Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's great though.
Well, you also have waves of Italian immigrants, Italian Catholics, Irish Catholics. The only original Catholic colony in the United States was Maryland, because Lord Baltimore was tolerant to Catholics. That was the only reason. Well, Boston used to be Protestant Anglo until tons of Irish Catholics showed up and turned Boston into a walking meme.
What's interesting is this is sort of like you said, Samson, with immigration in the UK, attitudes in the United States towards immigration have shifted a lot over time. But that's also because it seems to me that essentially from the 18th century onward, England was a pretty stable place versus over the same time period, America was very not. And we went through a lot of changes, both in our attitudes toward immigration, how the country was functioning, and what sorts of immigrants we took. There's a great article by Philippe Lemoyne. I don't know if I'm saying that, but it's called The Mirage of America's Special Sauce Theory. So there's been this belief for a long time that America is particularly good at, handling integration with immigrants, in the modern period, at least. But it actually compares, economic footing and educational footing of, immigrants from different countries to the United States versus immigrants to other countries. And essentially, America does it better because we take wealthier, higher class immigrants in the main, with the exception of Mexicans, where they tend to be like disproportionately lower class, lower education, versus what you guys are getting in Europe is basically like all Mexicans, but from North Africa, the subcontinent, the Middle East, etc.
We are essentially receiving the term detritus comes to mind.
Yes, I was thinking of drugs.
The literally the people who have not succeeded in any measure in their own countries. Those countries shun them for being criminals and, well, I don't want to say just lower class, but people who do not achieve anything, just sort of working people who will never succeed and can never succeed in those countries. And then they see the benefits, both figuratively and literally, of coming to the West, where everyone is a lot more, well, quote unquote, tolerant. And it's like seeing the golden ticket.
Right. Yeah. And there's a major categorical difference between, that in the hundreds of thousands to millions, as opposed to, Afro-Caribbeans who used to be a part of the Commonwealth in, maybe the tens of thousands, in a very slow drip. And then, other people like, formerly of the empire moving in like, really, really slowly. And then dam breaks all at once. And it's really interesting too, because I do get the sense, like you said, that British attitudes changed, versus like from the 60s, where it was much more like Alex described with sort of the propaganda film of the Brits being like, this is the right and proper thing to do, to now it's it's just being taken advantage of. And I don't think a lot of people are familiar with the facts on the ground of the British immigration problem right now, but it is being taken advantage of, and it's very once you know the details, it becomes very hard to get to be upset with the British being upset with the people they invited in. Once you see their conduct, like, no, a lot of pushback is actually like really understandable.
Yeah, again, it comes back to the difference in how we've become a diverse nation. We did not spend 200 years growing up through it. Only about 30, 40 years ago, so within living memory for most people still alive, England was still 95-ish%, around that mark, homogenous, white British, the same people who've been here for 1,000 years. It's been like that for a very long time, and people have seen the drastic change. They haven't grown up generation upon generation of like, there hasn't been hundreds of thousands of Bengalis living in the center of London in Tower Hamlets. 40 years ago, it was majority white people living there. It was like a generic, traditional Cockney neighborhood, and now
Mhm.
it is a Bengali slum.
The oh man, you ever seen a cat chitter when it sees like a bird through the window? That's what I do when I see the slums. That's what I do because my family is traditionally the ones we don't civilize the third worlders. So we're basically third world management. That's what we do. My family, even now in Indonesia, we do it for the Japanese corporations. We didn't really do it for the Japanese Empire. They weren't really very collaborative, but we did do it for the Dutch and the English, and a little bit of the Chinese back in the day. And like there's some real truths of human nature that like the modern attitudes just cannot really comprehend. Like if I look through the English, right, like why you guys are the way you are, you can't overlook the fact that there was tremendous punishments for almost 1,000 years for fairly small infractions. Like it takes a lot of effort to make people productive, let alone civilized. Like in America, what we would do is we'd put them through the meat grinder of the factories. Like when you're a new immigrant, like 1840s immigrant in the United States, it wasn't a cakewalk. There was no benefits. It was pretty much you'd be thrust into the poverty, and you have to work your way through that. And it was a filtering mechanism, I think, because those who couldn't fit in would be. Also, we were very
Industrious.
We were very industrious. We were brutal with our punishments as well. Like the Puritan penitentiaries. I don't know if you know this, but the reason why it's called a penitentiary is because of penitence. So these New England Puritans had set up a crime and punishment institution that was pretty brutal. I think we had asylums working back then. We would reject people. If you ever look at Ellis Island, the history of Ellis Island, where immigrants would come in, that's where the Statue of Liberty is. You'd go into a big line, a big queue. So that's first thing is, can you queue up? And then we'd mark you with chalk. And the immigrants wouldn't know what that means. But like 2 X's means we think you're retarded. And you'll be rejected or analyzed or just thrown out, right? So you'd be in steerage for a long time. So steerage is a little bit like quarantine, like old Venetian style quarantine. And then you'd get marked and evaluated. If you had a job already arranged, you'd be rejected because that's a sign that you're an indentured servant, right? If you have employment already arranged for you when you get here. Mm-hmm. There was a lot to it. I guess what I'm saying is, like, to use Alex's terminology here, there's a lot of technology that America had to process immigrants, and those were still the best immigrants. How you deal with the third world slums is going to be something like a third world plantation. Mm-hmm. Or a third world like factory. You think there'd be like if they were actually earnest about wanting to help process immigrants in the UK, you'd expect there to be like this Oliver Twist style factory quarter or something for immigrants to work in. But what are the conditions the immigrants have? Like what do they do? How do they live?
Well, I wouldn't really describe it's really hard because each of these groups lives in slightly different ways. It's just not in the sort of they don't live like the rest of the English do. Obviously, they essentially import the way they used to live, where they're from,
okay,
and continue to live that way here. It takes a little bit of time for them to like adapt their surroundings to where they used to come from. But they immediately revert back to. I don't know, saying programming is quite harsh, but it's what they know.
You can be harsh.
It's complete unwillingness to integrate.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I look at because there are people of like, even recent immigrant backgrounds, like, high up in the Labor Party and the Conservative Party and, civil service. There's a lot of people from elsewhere in the relatively recent past in the UK. But, the impression I get is that these people are either, shortly before immigration numbers started upticking seriously in the last few decades, or right at the beginning of it. And to a certain extent, essentially like compelled to integrate into British society versus the new ones. There's so many already there, and the government is do it, like taking specific measures to, put them in hotels, put them in, specific communities, like, essentially, like taking care of the full experience, and creating, large scale ethnic enclaves that integration isn't necessary. Like learning English, is not a requirement if you're in somewhere like, I don't know, Birmingham or center of London or something like that.
No, it has. That is honestly the case. 40 years ago, in order to succeed as an immigrant, you would have to learn English very, very quickly, learn the ways of the people around you very, very quickly, or the wrath of the English would appear. They would be very, very racist very, very quickly and go, what? No, they don't look the same as me. They're not acting the same as me. No, thank you. People are still like that. It's just you go to prison now for saying those things. But nowadays, when when these people arrive, they go to the places where the people look like them and already speak their original language, and it is exactly that. They don't need to integrate because there's so many people who have come here who've already formed like these sort of enclaves, these societies within British society that they have no need. They never interact with anyone outside of it unless they're handing food out of delivery bag. They don't actually need to in any way. They're setting up their, like with the Sharia law centers around the country. They're setting up their own alternative law system, our own alternative police system, and our government's doing nothing to stop it, so they're going to keep doing it. And then we also have a massive problem with the children and grandchildren of those original immigrants who did integrate to a certain degree and did start to become more British, quote unquote. It's very hard for that to happen, but these children, grandchildren, are now becoming far more radical, far more violent, far more anti-English than their parents are, and they're becoming the larger problem in society at the moment.
Yeah, they're setting up a parallel society. That's what you end up having when you get a critical mass. As I was saying, like the third world solution to this, which is, so my family's background is pretty much Singapore and the Strait of Malacca, just all over that. Where Singapore, what they do is they actually distribute and isolate minorities who are coming in to keep them from doing too much damage. They don't favor any particular religion. They just make it illegal to criticize any religion. So instead of being maximally liberal and allowing that to shake out, they just maximally authoritative when it comes to speech. But it's a balance, and it may not last forever. I don't see it lasting because Islam is inherently, just the way it is inherently expansive and must be. There's no, if it's contained, that you're in the early part of the Quran. Once it's contained long enough, it's like a seed that eventually sprouts in the right conditions, and then you get to the later Quran, and then that's you don't want to be in the later Quran Islam. That was the warlord section.
Yeah, if you're in Mecca versus Medina, I mean,
yes, yeah. Are you in Medina? Yeah, exactly. Right, and civilizing people is really difficult. Like as we were saying before, like in America, I got the feeling that UK is trying to be more like America sometimes, right? In terms of this immigration stuff, like we love. You'll see the language start to get used too, like stuff that doesn't make any sense, especially during the BLM riots. It's like, well, we don't have those problems in England. I mean, like at least not that they're aware of, but they'll start importing American language and trying to match what America has at this moment. But what America got at this very moment is from 200 years of constant ethnic strife, like tremendous amounts of ethnic strife.
It kind of makes me laugh when they talk about the Irish and, the white oppressors, the Irish. And I'm like, are you serious?
No, it's laughing. Absolute laughing. I won't say much. I don't want a bomb underneath my car.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. I mean, that's exactly like that's what in America we'd call homogenous, right? Irish and Englishman. That's great. They go together, look the same to me, but to you guys, it is actually a massive ethnic strife.
Oh, I think it's lesser ethnic than it is religious. It is entirely Catholic, Protestant, divide,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a lot of Irish people in England, and there's a lot of English people in Ireland. Ethnically, we're more or less the same. We've sort of intermingled for a very long time.
Okay, I see.
Very close relating. It's portrayed as an outwardly Ireland versus England thing, but it's definitely a religious
Okay.
thing.
Mhm.
And
Which
That's
is
interesting.
Kind of
'Cause-
ironic, considering
Yeah.
the whole issue with Islam coming in and affecting both of you. You know, it's kind of like the what?
No, it's kind of why a lot of people in Ireland are beginning to go, let's put our differences aside, our petty inter-Christian differences aside, and go, you know what? Maybe there is a greater enemy.
Yeah, I've seen the
Yep.
I've seen the two flags flying next to each other. A bit of a mind blower, I think, for normies, which
it's
is
not
good, by
all-
the way. Shock
But-
value is actually good. Stuff that breaks the sort of mindset of your average Englishman who's not very well engaged with politics. If they see like an Irish flag and a St. George's Cross flag like right next to each other on a pickup truck, they're like, "What? That doesn't compute. That breaks my worldview of how things have been. So maybe things are different now, right?"
That was a standout feature visiting Northern Ireland about a decade ago. Is like something I saw in Northern Ireland that I didn't really see in the Republic. Was the amount of flagpoles was sort of baffling. And you would see the different flags hanging over different neighborhoods, and you're like, oh. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting the forced reconciliation, and there's a sort of history rhymes there thing. Because Ireland was like a third world country until like the 90s.
Was question mark?
Huh? Still is. Well, yeah. It's more like they had a brief episode of being first world and are sliding back.
Right.
Is that because of the tax laws? Tax breaks for all the major companies like Google.
Yeah, turning into a bit of a tech hub. That's my understanding. Yeah, because they actually had a bit of a problem once stuff settled down and the lines were clear between the Republic and Northern Ireland. Is that basically every ounce of industrialization was in Belfast, and the Republic's like, oh crap, we got to do something.
Most of Ireland is still the same as it was 50 years ago outside the big cities. It's a lot worse than it is in the UK because a lot of our towns are growing, not just due to immigration, but for various reasons. But they have a lot of rural communities. They're very passionate rural communities, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah, that's actually my fear. So I talked a little bit about how it seems like the UK is trying to borrow from America's culture to do this LARP of what America has right now, or at least what they think America has. I fear that Americans are also doing the same thing because I keep hearing the word homogeneous online, and I'm like, I don't know if you guys realize that like the people who came to America from England had been like setting each other on fire over the Catholic Protestant difference. I had to explain to someone who William of Orange was a little while ago. I was like, and why the Knoxville, the college in Knoxville, their color is orange for that reason. Like these are old strifes that they were able to leave behind when they came to the United States, but there was a lot of strife. So this idea that you can have a homogeneous society just based purely on ethnic, it becomes incoherent. I guess what I'm saying is that America has a very incoherent view of ethnicity and a very non-nuanced understanding of it, and they're trying to LARP as Europeans. Some of them, I call them Eurocons or ethnocons, and it quickly loses coherency to the point where even Nick Fuentes just disavowed it, which is really funny to me. Did you see that yesterday? By the way,
No,
he was like, "This is extremely low IQ. You can't just hate someone because of their race." I was like, "What do you do? What's happening?"
What kind of gets me is it seems like a lot of the countries in Europe have this really long history and a lot of old grudges going back hundreds of years. And America is a fairly young nation in comparison. We're like, what, 250 this year or next year?
Mm-hmm.
I hear that we're a young nation, but you also got to remember that we're still an old people. We didn't just like come out of the dirt here. We do carry a lot of the history and attitudes from it, but we're very much we're very much a product that doesn't understand the process that made us, I suppose. So there are some history losses, but I don't know if that's unique to us.
But it's still sort of like we're the Lithuanians that are still holding a grudge against the Poles because they didn't come and help us during World War II as per their agreement in blah year. You know what I mean?
America's a weird country because you cannot trust America, by the way. Our attitudes change so rapidly, and we'll throw out histories if we just find it inconvenient. So Americans do have I don't know if it's a good thing or not. There's some advantages to the attitude of like, what have you done for me lately? But you might end up being a year zero man for eternity as well.
Right. Yeah. You don't necessarily like Darwinism is a useful function to run, but as an eternal principle, it can be pretty corrosive as well.
Yeah, Samson, what's your impression of Americans? Do you interact with a lot of Americans as a Lotus Eater producer?
So before I was at Lotus Eaters, it was rare to hear an American accent. When I wasn't on a London street, and I'd hear a tourist, and I go, "Oh, it's Americans. Oh, stay away." And then no, that was mostly joking with that one. What's it called? When I joined Lotus Eaters, I am acting a lot more with a lot more Americans than I ever thought I would have to, because I thought Lotus Eaters was primarily an English company, and I didn't mean that. Don't mean that in a bad way. It's because my illusions were blown. I was like, hang on a second, we have a huge American audience. We seem to be a gateway for Americans into learning about England, and I actually kind of like that because I think we're probably some of the best people, I think we're one of the best places for Americans to learn about England because we do welcome any viewpoints on our show, as you saw when Shouty Woman came on the show.
Narinder.
Yeah. No, it's I think in England, they see what Americans have. They see what America is doing, especially the Britons on our side, and they go, "Oh, I want that. We want what you have."
You want your Trump.
Yes. If a Trump would work in England, I don't think it would.
I don't think it would either, but
it wouldn't. He's a very American man.
Yeah.
It also seems like in 1997, the Brits expressed their desire for their own Bill Clinton too.
Something happened in the 90s.
As they say.
You put
what would be what Samson? What would be? That's actually an interesting question. At the 33-minute mark, what would the British Trump look like? When I say Trump, I mean like the transformative figure. What kind of man would that take to make that happen in England?
I think that's a very, very difficult question because we've never needed someone like that before. There's potential for him to be a little bit Churchillian. That sounds weird to say.
What aspects of Churchill?
But we're not in the same state as we were in the Second World War with the walking disaster of Clement Attlee and having to have him replaced. I don't even think Starmer is at Clement Attlee levels of like retardation when it comes to the enemy they're facing. He's almost there, very almost there.
Yeah.
But he hasn't quite waved the white paper saying Hitler will never invade us.
Right.
And then immediately Poland gets invaded and surprise Pikachu face. What? What? Sorry, what? No, it's part Churchillian, part Rupert Lowe, not Nigel Farage. Absolutely not Nigel Farage.
I think even us in America can see that he's just a reality. He's a politician who's trying to be a reality TV star, whereas we have a reality TV star who's trying to be a politician over here. And
which is why almost potentially a little bit of Jeremy Clarkson. that kind of
Mhm.
reluctant, the crown is in the gutter Clarkson, you need to pick it up. He won't. He's too sick and old.
Yeah,
But
he doesn't look well.
we need someone like him to appear that the entire British normie public can go, he's my top guy.
Mhm.
Rupert Lowe can't really be that. He's honestly a little bit too old and too niche of a subject. It has to be someone like Clarkson with the sort of charisma of Winston Churchill. But they don't exist currently, so I couldn't really give you any better explanation than that.
Right.
How would
It's it's the perpetual balancing act of great man theory of history. It's like history's right for a great man. Come on, buddy. Ah,
It's a
crap. We haven't invested in any great man production. No.
I think that's the problem, is that you see the end. All right, so me and Cosmo will crap all over elite theory all the time, because it's like you see the end product of what is actually a large and invisible process of how do you get a great man. One of the things about how do you get a great man is like guys like Jeremy Clarkson would endorse and start to introduce it. You know, it used to be that our great leaders would groom the next generation of great leaders, right? It was that would be your guy. That would be, and I've managed to get boomers to do this for me, but I have to kiss their ass so much to make it work, where they will actually start grooming me to start replacing them. And it's like grabbing gold from the clutches of Tutankhamun's mummy. It's like, good Lord, this is a lot of work. The production of great men is a science technology, Alex, that we've lost. I think that we don't know how to produce great men. So you end up just getting this almost swarm of people who fail at it, right? Like there's so much failure when you're trying to recreate a technology from almost Darwinian conditions. You know, which one's actually going to make it to the egg, right? That's the
Well, is great men a product of what had come before, or is it a product of the time? So does the crisis make great man, or is it something that's handed down, and maybe a little bit of both?
I mean, yeah, I would understand it. I would understand it as both, but like you gotta have the people waiting in the wings. Like one of the things, at least from my perspective as an outsider looking on history, is the empire actually used to be like a great man factory. Like, like you said, Alex, a little bit like mentoring from the previous generations and just periodic exposure to enough conflict to really allow talent to appreciate and then come to the fore sequentially. Like, during the imperial period, Britain had no shortage of civic-minded, talented men, and I mean, I wonder how bad is the brain drain thing on the ground in day-to-day experience, because I get that, my impression is that most of what's missing for a British transformation is civic mindedness being replaced with despair, but I am wondering how aggressive the talent loss is.
How can I best?
I mean, I guess in your job, you're probably exposed to like disproportionately talented people, both with who you're working with, and with who you're interacting with, for like
a retard amongst giants at work.
You're not a retard.
Well, when it comes to philosophy and really highly skilled individuals who know a lot of things about a particular subject, I'm surrounded by those people every day now, and they know what they're doing. I'm just the guy pushing buttons. I'm a button pusher, but a humble button pusher.
Okay, Samson, let me explain something to you. When you have people that are really high IQ, they tend to specialize, so they're really, really good at that one thing and really, really dumb at everything else. So trust me, you're fine.
To be fair, yes, I can corroborate that. The autism yes, in terms of the wider United Kingdom,
what's it like going back to your like hometown or like the college experience? Like, is it an appreciable drain?
Well, it's noticeable everywhere. If I'm honest,
Mhm.
if the moment as a talented person appears, they join a British company and then get snapped up by a foreign American company or a company in Singapore or Dubai, and they're gone because the quality of life is so much better. People are like, "Yep, I'm out,"
Mhm.
and a lot of incredibly talented people are doing that, and it is quite noticeable. And you're sort of stuck with sort of boomer generation and very young people who are like indentured servants to the boomer generation.
Yep.
There are some who stick around and occasionally cool things happen, but it is kind of noticeable that there don't seem to be a lot of smart people at the top. It's very noticeable in our politics that the moment the really intelligent ones get their way, they're cooed out of power and immediately go and work for a corporation halfway across the world and
Mhm.
don't stay to make things better. Yeah, with the Britain that made the empire does not exist anymore. All those smart men, there is no place for them to be made because they're sabotaged out of their position by the spiteful mutant class who are attempting to maintain control before they have a chance to get great.
Mhm.
I see. So it's like an old brewer's fermenter, right? Like it's already so alcoholic that no new yeast is able to grow. It's to become stagnant and then eventually toxic. And anything that's good is getting extracted out. It's a Faustian bargain to work with the United States for that reason, right? And you can't really put the lid back on globalism. Like someone's going to be the king at that time, whoever it's going to be. So the U.S. And you get a combination of the Pareto distribution working with the network effect so the United States is able to poach pretty much the best talent across the world all the time, and then tell everyone how great immigration is, without that caveat that what kind of immigrants we're bringing in. Although we do have a lot of not so great immigrants too, but yes, as Alex said, they're coming mostly from Mexico. So,
although your tech sector is currently just the Indian tech sector.
That's true.
yeah, it's kept on lifeblood. I'm in the tech sector right now, and the attitudes in there are pretty pro H-1B visa because I think for two reasons. Like one, a lot of people who are sort of the older generation still remember H-1Bs when it was proper talent. They also only interact with the cosmopolitan, westernized immigrants, whereas the not cosmopolitan, not westernized, and not competent immigrants are out of sight, out of mind in some tech center someplace, getting their code fixed by somebody else, right? Like when they the last thing you ever want to do in the tech sector is have an issue or a crisis, because management will throw tons of people at you, and they're all almost always extremely low quality people, and you just become idiot management. Your job becomes twice as hard. So it's I see it from both directions because I'm kind of used to be a hiring manager. I stopped doing that, and we also it's a totally different issue though. But we also have a massive talent shortage of just Americans, as far as I'm concerned. But that's like a different issue. That's part of our education system. Our university system is just like our university system is essentially a Balenciaga bag. It's a name brand luxury good. That's all it is. It's a name brand luxury good for ladies to status game each other. It's not actually about
But it makes me so pretty.
When I was in engineering school, I was a complete psychopath. I filled every waking hour with projects and stuff. And almost no one did that. I was like, "What are you doing here? You're in an engineering school to be an engineer, but you don't do any engineering." I was like, it's like if you were studying music and you never put on a concert or wrote any pieces. They never did a composition. But that's just university. They don't push like this. There's a lot of reasons for that. University is also very, very difficult. So
yeah, I think we have a problem in America with low price, low quality rather than buying higher price, higher quality. It's like you want a lot of people just go and buy whatever's cheapest and don't consider that there may be problems or ramifications of doing so.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that entirely because it's all kind of high priced, but the price doesn't really affect the quality that much of the education itself. The price is more about the name brand.
Yeah.
Like if I say I went to Princeton, it's just a degree from Princeton. Like for instance, MIT is a pretty good school. Everybody knows that school. Nobody knows Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. That's where I went to. Like, I'm not trying to like showboat, but there's my diploma there. But nobody knows who the hell we are. But we're like one of the most. We're the MIT for the military industrial complex. We just sort of fly under the radar, but we do a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
I've launched stuff into space. There's stuff of mine that has been in space. It's like most MIT students don't do that. I did. Doesn't get and no one gives a but I don't have MIT on my name, so I don't get to get hired at all the hot tech jobs, right? So maybe that'll stop at some point. There's one guy who got a really good job in the tech sector because all of MIT's stuff is open source. He could just go and study MIT stuff and get the same education, more or less, at least lecture wise. So
yeah. Well, there's
Oh, I have private.
I mean, it's interesting because the academia in the U.S. has very distinct roles in elite culture formation and, you know, the patronage network that you know, exacerbates a lot of the problems that we're having. And there's, you know, counter forces. There's counter forces like, you know, like the Teal Fellowship or the 1517 fund that is trying to, you know, build a sector that's opposed to that. You know, it's the paying dropouts or very, very early investment model, which I think is highly pro-social because, you know, you get people started not at essentially like, you know, a glorified pension where you have to show up to the office sometimes, but actually started directly in building something. At a young age, this inadvertently encourages family formation, among other things, which is kind of amazing. But you know, like our university system is a bit of a problem, and you know, like as an outsider, again, trying to understand how all of the British stuff fits together. You know, what, like, you know, one, how expensive is university if you're going? And two, you know, is it sort of regarded as this you must be on it pathway to, you know, the middle class like it is in America? And, you know, is there a, you know, a sort of elite matriculation whilst also producing a bunch of, you know, essentially like disenfranchised people carrying debt?
Well, okay. First of all, how much does it cost to go to university in America? Just so I can get my bearings.
Depends.
Depends on where you're going, but like, yeah. I mean, what, 120,000 we'd say is like low mid price tag.
Oh, that's Jesus
in
Christ.
state it was $50K. Out of state it was over 100.
Okay.
When I was in school like 10 years ago.
So to do about 1 year of university here, it's about $9,000 for the year. For the course, at least $9,000 English money, so real money.
Your money's getting less real by the year, bro.
It's not that real anymore. I can't make that joke.
You can thank our treasury secretary for that.
No, it's about 3 times 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's,
okay, so you're at like 27 grand. That's just the coursework. That's not
but then you also have to
residentials or stuff. So you're probably coming in at like 35, 45, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
probably.
That's not including paying rent and food and bills, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
So the debt you get is about 30K, I think.
Okay. Okay. So probably comparable to a U.S. state school, all told.
Yes, and second question. Wait, what was the second question again? Pardon?
You know, what's the function? You know, is there a strong function like there is in the U.S. for certain universities to be like elite matriculation clearinghouses? And, you know, is it regarded as like you must do it, you know, path to middle class existence that essentially produces a lot of disenfranchised educated people?
Yeah, well, yes, there is much the same as the US system where you get lots of essentially useless degrees. You have hundreds of thousands of like useless people who've spent 3 years of their life or more, and they've gone, oh, I've got a degree in English. But how does that help you knowing about what Shakespeare wrote a couple hundred years ago? How is that helping you in your B&Q part-time wagey job? It's most university students do not get jobs because it's almost a scam how much are the youth in England are funneled into the university system and how little employment actually becomes of it. And yes, a lot of universities are just saying, oh, you only went to that university, you didn't go to Cambridge or Oxford. Oh, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, the name brand. So our university systems are synced up pretty well, which is something I've theorized before about why university subjects can contaminate the UK so easily, like wokeness. It's the same animal. Our university system, by the way, is also English. It's not American. Yale and Harvard predate the founding of the Americas.
It's not even the woke subjects. It's that the people on every course are woke. So that even if you're doing like I did film, yes, it was an arts degree. I have a Bachelor of Arts. I spent my entire time at film school. I don't want to say just falling asleep during half the lectures because it was just going on about something woke and irrelevant that wouldn't help me learn. Just on a fundamental level, I'm like, regardless of the content of the wokeness, this wasn't helping me in any way. And knowing the outcomes of a lot of my uni mates and secondary school, so what's that? It's high school. Like people who've come through the higher education system and gone, okay, I'm now woke, I'm now intelligent, give me a job. Oh, you're fighting for part-time department store jobs with your other fellow intelligent, highly regarded individuals.
Right. We have the same problem in the United States, largely. Very much.
Yep.
Like that aspect of our elite, because you think about an old English university, it's like, well, this is where the elite is trained, right? That's the elite factory. You prune from the best vines, you graft them, you train them, and now you're getting the best fruits at the very end, the great men that will lead us. But our university systems both have been kind of co-opted as these luxury goods or these name brand things, or just a thing that you have to do. Like this is now semi-voluntary, like getting that department store job. Could people just skip university and live pretty much the same?
Oh yeah, of course. Like, that's because all of the skilled labor jobs are going to the second cousin of the Indian hiring manager who got nepotism into place himself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also another thing about having a global hiring market. And immigration makes it global, right? You're now competing with other countries, is that people will start trying to essentially colonize wherever they can, get any foothold. One thing about third worlders is they're pretty good about recognizing what is power, and fair play doesn't even enter into their head. It's just not something that they think it's either dumb. It's one of the reasons why it's very rare to find people out in the world who share the Western sense of fair play. Is the reason why there are so few ethnic groups out there that actually integrate. I mean, my ethnic group took over the entire Strait of Malacca just because we're fairly honest. That was all we had. That's all we had. We're pretty smart. And we're fairly honest. We're decent bookkeepers. Like we don't screw people over typically. That's not the norm at all. So they'll grab onto any bit of power. They could be the manager at Orange Julius, and they will turn that into like a small mini empire. And it is the craziest shit you'll ever see. Like stuff that you think
Orange Julius.
It's a orange juice stand. I think it still exists in the United States.
Okay, I could have guessed that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just some crappy ice cream shop. Australians would call it a milk bar or something like that. I don't know. Just any petty leadership job, and they will absolutely exploit it to the max to create a little fiefdom. Because that's what they have to do in their home countries, and they're going to do that there. The great man factory is kind of broken, and it's broken in the United States too. And we're kind of shoring it up with H-1B visas to try and keep things okay. But it's like a reverse ship of Theseus. Is that we had working parts and we've replaced them with not working parts that are good enough. And you notice that Trump is a boomer.
Mhm.
Like people give boomers lots of crap, but Trump is a boomer, but he might be a dying breed.
He's an
Mhm.
FBI informant boomer.
Yeah. Yeah. Trump glows apparently.
Yeah, it's too funny.
Oh boy, you can. I'm going to make someone cover that on the podcast on this week.
Yeah,
There's
Trump's
no way
glowing.
that's going untalked about.
Well, the funny thing is, if Epstein was also an asset, right? That's the narrative. Is it like glowy versus glowy? We're just having to.
Well,
It's like
as is
when you were
always
the
the
two
case,
people in the car looking at each other.
both
Yeah.
sides of January the 6th, it was one side glowed, the other side was also glowing.
Mm-hmm.
Nervous looks across the picket line.
Our intelligence agencies have perpetrated some of the greatest fuckeries in the entire history of the planet. And I don't even know who they work for. I think JFK wanted to get rid of the CIA, right? Like all these intelligence agencies are just a nation apart from themselves.
Yep.
And they function that way, and they will do whatever they have to. And they get very incestuous with other intel agencies.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing that I started seeing happen recently. Is Mike Benz has pivoted now to going very hard after British intelligence agencies. Specifically because he's an online free speech guy, and American intelligence farmed out a lot of our speech suppression work to the UK. But yeah, he's calling pull every dollar out of every US dollar out of the city of London, which is pretty wild. That's something actually what agencies glow in the UK? Is MI5 really a concern versus Raiku or other?
All of them are
foreign
agents
office?
of the enemy, quote unquote, but they're not necessarily aware of the fact that they're agents of the enemy because they're doing what the rules tell them to do and they're following the rules. So they're just doing what the law says, right? Stop questioning what. No, stop. I can see you three questioning them in your head. No, that's not allowed. Sorry, guys.
Well, that's a funny cultural difference, actually. This is kind of why we brought you on. Is that there are some cultural differences between Americans and British, and you guys seem very, very big on rules. You just love them. You make rules about stuff that didn't need them before.
It used to work for us. That's how the empire worked. Is we made the rules where there were none, and civilization flourished for the most part. But then the people using those rules to their advantage change things, and over time the rules get edited, and some rules get ignored completely for the sake of other rules, and corruption.
Right. The cognitive. There must be a word for cognitive dissonance that applies to a legal system. But there's a dissonance between the laws, and that gives you leeway to then choose. The bureaucrat loves ambiguity. Yeah, and it's a very bureaucratic state. It seems to me. You guys have so many of the same movie. You'll have your 1984, you'll have your Brazil, you'll have all these other movies of just a mad bureaucracy.
I really need to watch Brazil. People keep talking to me about Brazil. I'm like, okay, maybe I should finally watch it.
You're absurd, and what's weird is you guys have such incredible absurdist humor that I don't know if you British understand how much of a grip you have on American culture. We'll go ape for decades over one of your cultural products.
Yeah, I'm thinking Pride and Prejudice right in my head right now as you're saying that.
I forget about that. That's right.
I was gonna say, what? Right. Sorry, what part of Pride and Prejudice are you thinking about right now?
Okay, so there's been a running gag on Twitter for a while of all these guys saying that girls want X, and all of the girls basically replying, no, we want Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
It's women want these big buff gym bros, and all the girls are like, no, Mr. Darcy, that's what we want. And so it's very much in the female romance sector. There's a whole subgenre of all of the British accent characters, Yeah, it's kind of wild. Anyway.
was saying that
I also know that in American bookshops there are entire subsections of like horrific bestiality, anthropomorphic animal rape fantasy books that are
I'm well
incredibly
aware it
creepy.
is disgusting. Anyway,
Samson, can you ask the Lotus Eaters if someone will go through and figure out where Jane Austen eventually turned to that? Like, if liberalism leads to communism, I want to see where Jane Austen leads to weird bestiality romance
You know what?
novels.
I think I've got my top man Stelios. I think he's the right man for it.
I love
Oh, you would
Stelios.
love
I can't wait
that.
to have him. Yeah, I can't wait to have him on here. He's a cool. He seems like just a genuinely good dude.
Oh yeah. The
British cultural. There's a reason I've not done this video yet because I think about it. The more I think about something, the longer it takes me to make a video on it because I'll have conflicting views. But one thing is, I haven't made the I am glazing the English video, which I'll have to do at some point because the list keeps getting longer, right? Like the concept of a childhood that you guys have over there is actually extremely innovative. That you guys give a damn about childhood. I was put to work pretty much immediately. I didn't have really a childhood. There was like a couple of I watched Pokemon once in a while. That's about it. I was doing accounting, like a proper third world clerk to an empire. You guys have a childhood, which is great for brain development. You guys have an incredibly expressive language. It's the best language there is. I think for nuance, right? All the technology, like forget about poetry and stuff like that. Like even the technical fields, there's so much nuance in English that we're able to say stuff like, stress versus strain, toughness versus strength, or tough versus strong, this sort of stuff. There's enough borrowing from other languages for us to have a conversation in English.
We are very good at borrowing things and then making them our own and not giving them back.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, your engineering has always been great. Even today, if I run into a British engineer, they're almost always top quality. Sometimes annoyingly so. They will let you know that they are top quality. They will let you know you're not. I got one guy at work who's in the British office. He's pretty much just a one-man engineering company. And he will let you know
is he
how
single?
stupid you. He's extremely autistic. This man is like, and he's the mean type.
No.
He's the mean type. He's extremely mean, which I'm really good at working with because I enjoy mean people. I enjoy especially mean Englishmen because that reminds me of the administrators. I was like, good.
I hate being mean. It's like the one thing, and by that I mean I hate telling people that I need them to do something at work. I'm like, no, I need you to do this.
You know what's funny is that actually makes for the most mean. Like someone who doesn't like to be mean is now inconvenienced by the fact they have to correct you. So the pissiness just sort of seeps through. They can't help it.
Oh yeah, I will become passive aggressive when I need to. And believe me, the words I'm saying out loud are not the words that I'm saying in my head.
Okay, I know the gammon thing is like a funny meme and all that stuff, but I've literally watched a British guy just start to turn pink and then red. It's like, and I dial it back.
Look,
like, okay, I'm going the wrong. And I see his color return.
I'm imagining in my head, most people couldn't comprehend them.
I would love to see that. I think Az from Heels versus Babyface, he's an incredibly amazing physiognomy to that man. I would like to see what he looks like next to like a ticker tape so I can see like how tall are you? What's your what's your scale? Because I think the man might be a monster. He just peeled me like a tangerine.
I need to try and get him on the show at some point.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, what's it like to be right as about Starfield? Oh man.
How smug are you right now, and how smug have you been for the entire year?
Clearly not enough.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how smug are you right now?
I'm so glad I refunded that game after 20 minutes going, what the fuck is this? Why am I doing this?
It is basically a diversity lecture for isn't it? Doesn't it feel like that? It's like you're in your film class again.
You know what? Let's move on. I'm going to get sad. I'm gonna get really sad.
There's one character that just bitches you out for killing people. It's like,
every Bethesda, why?
And then you just and if your speech is high enough, you can just gaslight her, which is really abusive. So it just changes the dynamic. Oh my gosh. Yes. The glazing of the English shall continue. I need to actually do it because you guys certainly don't glaze yourselves. You guys have an inherent modesty and underspoken nature to you guys. Which
Oh no, complimenting myself? You kidding? No.
Okay,
No,
we need to throw all the compliments at Samson.
You wait until someone else gives you a compliment, and then you go, "Oh yeah, okay, thanks," and I guess, and then move on.
Yep, exactly.
No, you don't. No need for compliments.
Just doing my job, man.
No, all of the compliments, all of them.
Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Crap, I was going to bring something up. I'll catch it later. But it's all right. I was going to talk about. Do we have to use code words for the Tumbly Ramblinson?
No.
We don't have to do that. We used to have to do that.
You know what? Actually, with what's happening on September the 13th, I've seen some people's posts getting flagged, but you're not monetized. If you're not monetized, I don't think you need to worry about being demonetized from it.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. There you go. Well, the and I'm gonna tell Luna to be nice.
Okay, I'll be nice.
Be nice.
I'm always nice. What are you talking about?
Why? What part of British culture made it so that I'm going to say his name once, Tommy Robinson, right? Which by the way, it's not because of censorship. I just like to make up funny names. For Timbley Rimblinson, what part of him, what about him made things fail? Because I've heard that it's just a class thing, like he's working class, so people didn't want to hear it. They'd rather hear it from Douglas Murray or something. Is there any truth to that? What is your thought?
So the class thing definitely plays a part into it, because if you're a part of the ruling class, the ruling media class, you've been part of the upper middle class all your life, and now you're even higher above that, and you're lecturing people on BBC Question Time going, no, you're wrong. No, stop talking to me, you filthy peasant. But they're thinking that in their head as they're saying these things. And then along comes Tommy Robinson, who is just a quintessential gammon who got very popular for saying the wrong things in a time that wasn't ready for it, which propelled him into the spotlight. If that makes sense. It does. Definitely class-based. It is definitely because he speaks like a Cockney geezer.
Americans would love that. We kind of like working class, but there's a problem: is that we have a political structure here that is very class-based, even if they don't want to admit it. And I feel like the Democrats are attempting to create a European-style class system, which is why they emphasize university so much. But don't lose heart too much, because we had a lot of pre-Trumps that failed too. Like we had, like Pat Buchanan is finally like vindicated after being, I think that was what his name was, right? Luna, do you remember?
Harry goes on about him a lot. I need to learn who he is.
Yeah.
He'd blown the whistle on the immigration issues, and he was an immigration realist, a very race realist. Sometimes stuff takes decades or a century before you realize, oh yeah, that person was absolutely right.
Tommy Robinson appeared at a time that wasn't ready for him, but because we've had a decade of him in the shadows slowly building up, he is now primed to be the figurehead of the sort of opposition to the globalist existence we're currently suffering through. And he's someone normies can go, yeah, I like what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what he's saying is affirming what I think, and yeah.
So it's sort of like the groundwork's been laid for almost a decade or longer.
Yes, his continual persecution by the state, continual prison sentences, and essentially have endeared him in the eyes of the right-wing public, and not even right-wing public, because most of the people following him aren't like a far left or a far rightist. They are just normal people who are beginning to notice what's happening around him. And he is sort of like, oh, am I allowed to actually talk about this? I've never been able to talk about this before.
There's a funny phenomenon that we don't necessarily understand, and I think some people are trying to bring it up. I remember the Andrew Wilson fellow. I don't much care for him, but he did make a good point on Timcast, is that your rights are kind of fake, and that includes right to free speech.
No, we don't have a right to free speech.
Yeah, and
we offer our right to free speech is entirely incumbent on who is in power and who is willing to go, yeah, you do, or no, you don't.
Or on what?
But because we don't have that like
It's not
fundamental
codified.
Bill of Rights that completely enshrines it as a fundamental right which cannot be infringed upon. There are like some laws we do have, and especially if you're part of the Free Speech Union in the United Kingdom, which I highly recommend if you are English, you go and become a part of. I'm not technically a member myself, but I already have to toe the line with where I work anyway. So, but it's yeah, we need some kind of actual Bill of Rights which guarantees it above all legal problems that we are allowed to say what we want to say.
Yeah, that's sad that it can't be done with a gentleman's agreement. But as we, I'm sure Carl's talked about sentiment quite a bit. But a sentiment is a sediment. It's not a very stable thing to put stuff on. Like, well, it's great, but like in America, we were founded during what you guys would probably consider a traitorous revolution. We weren't very high. Yeah, we weren't. Yeah, we'll agree to disagree. Actually, I think Americans would wear that label pretty all right. We'd probably put that as.
I think most Americans would be happy to call it traitorous because that's exactly what you were. Right?
Well, there's a
kind of.
And that's not even opinionated. You were technically traitors to the crown in the rebellion against it. So
yeah, we have very little regard of the crown.
I would love to see a new line of succession appear, which wasn't that of the House of Windsor.
That'd be interesting. It's that's the monarchist dilemma. The republic's dilemma is its codification of rights. And it's continual enforcement of them, because our right to free speech has been infringed before. By the way, here's a fun fact that most Americans don't ever think about, that me and Alex have their big brain IQ where we can understand words. That's right. Alex Cosma, he's talking with his land person. But our framing is the crown betrayed us first, which is no you, which is funny. Anyways,
reverse Uno card.
I know, right? No, we. There's a lot of back and forth, and in a very English manner, it's like all written and it's about rules. It's not just F it, although the F it, it's ours now mentality is definitely there. It had to go through the Tidewater, primarily the Tidewater Anglos, who I don't think it'll exist anymore, but that was the Thomas Jefferson types. Anyways, the Americas were founded as a bit of an act of treachery. So, in some framings, counter treachery maybe. So we had to codify it. We didn't have the sentiment, and also our union was completely fractured but whole.
Isn't that how it always is?
Yeah, we hated each other. We've always hated each other in America. I mean,
it's a love-hate relationship.
So the first thing that George Washington did, one of the first things he did, was lead an army to crush a rebellion in the Americas, the Whiskey Rebellion. They didn't want to pay taxes. They're reading.
I can't blame them for that, though.
No, I think it's the right thing to do. Got to pay taxes on stuff. I mean, it's not like we didn't found this union to abolish taxes. It was nuanced, right? It was about representation. But anyways, I love that we lost our minds over a 3% tax. And I did the calculations. I did the calculations of what the stamp tax actually was. So it's a tax. It was one of the taxes that's cited. It was a tax on legal documents, all paper, anything ledger related was taxed. And I went through and I grabbed how much tax it actually was, and then I transferred it over to what would this buy me in that day's, money. Like if it's 5 shillings for a ream of paper, what is that actually in terms of buying power? And it was like nothing. Like this tax was barely a nuisance. We lost our shit over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is, we as they say, we chimp out a lot in America, which means we get to keep our rights. Well, I mean, the Battle of Athens is a really good example of Americans fighting for their right to have good votes, good democratic system, where they absolutely lost their minds and started throwing dynamite at cops. They raided the cops were corrupt and they were holding the voter rolls. So a bunch of people organized peacefully at first to just protect the voter rolls, escort it, and eventually they raided the National Guard armory, got like BAR Browning automatic rifles, and someone else got dynamite, because you could just up into the 60s you could just buy dynamite at a hardware store. That's what I've heard. It was a different country.
Yeah. Well, that being said, it's sort of like I remember last time when we were talking about Americans chimping out and whether or not the current European predicament and the government's not doing what's best for the people. How do the people get their government, hold their governments to account? Right? Because in America, we'll chimp out, as you said. We'll wave our guns and be like, what the hell are you doing? There's a certain level of fear of the people. So the governing body sort of has an incentive to do what they're supposed to do. But I don't really see that in a lot of Europe or in England, where the people will sort of hold their rulers to account other than the vote. I think the vote is sort of seen as the last, I don't want to say last resort, but the last resort they think the people will actually use. If that makes sense.
You guys have riots once in a while, though.
Oh yeah. We basically, when we vote for things, we expect things to happen. If that makes sense. And we've been voting for the last 2 decades, and things aren't happening.
Yeah.
And now the riots are beginning.
And what do the riots usually result in?
Well, for the most part, not much, other than more draconian laws placed against people in order to restrict movement, free speech,
that's what I was afraid of,
etc.
Yeah, that's not good. Because there's no relief valve.
I think
what's happening now, though, is that our country is so, how do I say it? Cucked, I think is the best word. Is that now the riots and protests are getting larger and larger and larger, and hundreds of thousands of people are joining every week. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The police already can't contain the amount of protests that are happening now, which is why they're beginning to get more spicy with their responses to the protests.
What's the attitude towards police right now?
That they are essentially agents of a traitorous regime and are not to be trusted.
That's very different from 10 years ago.
Yeah, the people have this sort of implicit trust. There's always a local Bobby who's supposed to be around every corner, willing to go and catch a thief. That hasn't existed for 30 years because of mass immigration and massive increases in crime and all of that stuff. It's no, the trust in police has been going down and down and down because more and more things, more and more parts of our society are falling apart, some of which is reliant on the sort of inherent trust we have that the police will come and stop the baddie, and they haven't come and stopped the baddie for a very long time, and we've been suffering a long time now without any form of major protection. Most burglaries just aren't solved and are ignored by the police, and they're no, sorry about that, we're not going to bother.
So you said, in a sense, your nation's government has betrayed its people.
Yes,
in a lot of ways,
through essentially ignoring their problems because they can't. It's too expensive.
Wow,
sorry, too expensive.
Well, exactly. They're importing other people to try and allegedly to replace you. It might also we Americans, again, we're very low trust when it comes to us and our government. We made it as a necessity.
It's a national pastime.
Our Constitution is not really a holy document to us. It's more of just a way for keeping us to killing each other. I was going to mention before, actually, that our First Amendment, the first words in it are "Congress shall make no law." So you can actually violate free speech. Technically, you can violate free speech, religion, assembly, all stuff, as long as you pass a state law. It's just it only restricts Congress. But anyways, our nation is a pretty good example of, I don't know if it's like a controlled chimp out, right? How do you have the riot and then come through it? So American history is the revolution history is actually kind of interesting because there were so many aspects of the press on our side, money men, philosophers, scientists, all trying to make this work. The the reason why the founding fathers are so well liked in America is because it was a way for us to maintain identity while not incurring further wrath too much, while also staying cohesive. Because the last thing you want to trust is a traitor, and we had to see ourselves not as traitors. And you guys right now have been betrayed by your government, and
it's kind of in
that's
some
gonna
way
yeah.
a similar like what's going on in American history is what's happening in Britain right now, kind of in a
with a little bit of Gangs of New York added in. Have you ever seen the movie Gangs of New York, Samson?
No, I haven't. It's on my list.
Great movie about immigration. It is a brutal movie. It is essentially what's happening is a bunch of Irish are being imported to New York, and the immigrants start forming gangs, and the locals start forming gangs and fighting each other. It is essentially what happens when integration is not controlled, and to an incumbent ethnic group is imposed upon by an immigrant ethnic group.
So this is part of the problem I have in the office, where everyone's quite a lot older than I am, and it's like, "Oh, have you seen this?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't seen that. No, I haven't. No, I haven't read this. No, I haven't. No, I got a lot to learn."
I don't really read very much, so Alex Cosma has tons of recommendations for me to read. I try to keep them in the chat as best I can, but yeah, not trying to get Samson thrown into the Tower of London here. I don't want to talk about this stuff too much, except for attitudes. What are the attitudes right now? What's the effect been, you think, on the social cohesiveness in England? Are people still cohesive, or is it just cleaving from the government, or what do you think? Because you guys were a high trust society.
So we're not in a high trust area in any major town or city now, as there's thousands of people living in major towns and cities who just don't think or act the same way we do, and it would be complete folly to pretend like that's the case. Like I don't go to London anymore unless my hand is over my pocket with my wallet in it. I don't lift the hand up above that pocket for any reason unless I'm inside a shop, and even then that's like, okay, there are pickpockets everywhere. Hundreds of phones are stolen every minute. It's like probably not that big, but it's some ridiculous stat. Like every second, multiple people's phones get stolen due to the amount of pickpockets.
I'm really enjoying the American stereotype. By the way, Americans love having stereotypes of them. We actually enjoy being made fun of.
Yep.
And the Brits are really good at making. So if you ever feel like you guys are making the Americans angry, making Americans angry is kind of an art. We really like the British, so it's kind of hard for you guys to make us angry. I like the American stereotype that we just attack pickpockets. I don't know what happened if that happened in London. Like if I went to London,
you attack the criminals, you're going to get a larger sentence for trying to defend yourself and your property.
That's just wild to me.
I need a sacrificial American to go there, get robbed, and then
that's already happening in parts of Europe. There are these American citizens who are on trains when they get robbed or pickpocketed, or they try to intervene. They get slashed up or something, and then it's like, "Oh no, you tried to intervene you just committed an act of violence against a poor innocent migrant man. Sorry, prison."
Jahanvi's asking a question: is that the high trust, is that still in the outside the cities?
To a large part, yes, because a lot of these smaller towns just don't. There's nothing for the immigrants there, so they don't go there. And there might be forced there in asylum hotels, but that's not where the enclaves are. They're not going to earn money off Deliveroo in these tiny little towns. Right. So those are the sort of places where you can have honesty boxes where someone might keep like 20 chickens in their back garden and just leave eggs out there every day, and you put some spare change in a little money box that isn't even locked up. That's the kind of thing that can still exist, especially in the deepest, darkest areas of the sort of outer stretches of Britain, like Cornwall, Devon.
Right. I wonder what the attitudes of how the attitudes of the English have changed in terms of their national identity. Right. I know you said the word cucked earlier. It's like, is there a tremendous amount of shame? Is this a big blemish on them? Do they feel down about it?
Well, I think it's a lot of people still feel very positive about being English. Being
English. Yeah.
That's why they're using the flag as a means of protest currently. It's sort of an attempt to go, no, this is our flag. This is our country. we're not ashamed to be English. Stop trying to stop trying to erase us.
That's just wild to me.
The optics though are really good. That's a great optical thing, because what it does is it's doing a Trump, right? When Trump said no burning the flag in America. Well, really, there was a lot more nuance. It was kind of a nothing burger, but the fact he signed an EO meant that a bunch of crazy leftists started burning the flag. I think even research had shown that if you start flying American flags outside of polling stations, the people tend to vote more Republican. So the Republicans own the American flag, but the English people get to own their flag. And if the government starts it, I think that's why Keir Starmer went into damage control mode and started having the St. George's cross on his mantle.
Yeah, it's just gaslighting, lies, absolute nonsense.
Absolutely. I think that's good, but it's going to be a tough road. Like, how do you navigate through this? Because what I'm saying is that it's not just you have a riot, you have your chimp out, and then you get your way like it's some sort of medieval battlefield or something like that. It's just right. Not the way things are now. There's a lot of optics and a lot of framing to maintain cohesiveness. Yeah. What do you see as the next thing that's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen next about?
Well, there's a Tommy Robinson thing, which is going to have millions of people involved with it next weekend. That is going to be, hopefully, if it doesn't just turn into like a bunch of people dancing on stage, and I assume it might actually turn into this, it's sort of a very containment event. I think it has a chance, if there's the right announcements made by the right people at this event, that people start becoming a lot more active at these protests and a lot more people show up. And I think more riots will happen. The moment the next child is raped or killed by one of these people, it's going to cause a proper riot. And that things have a potential to snowball into a thoroughly more violent happening, should we say.
I wonder, have things changed in terms of the role of the United States and the role of like Elon Musk in how these riots might mature into something a bit more constructive?
But without Elon Musk buying X, there would be no major platform that would be willing to like platform any of this content that causes the snowballing and the radicalization within the sort of, well, I guess natives. That's the best word for it. X, without X existing, most people wouldn't know about a lot of this stuff. You might see it in the odd Facebook group, but none of the really radical stuff that really drives change would be visible. And that's entirely due to the like American free speech absolutism and Elon Musk's very fervent need to maintain that, which I think we will very much appreciate. Like, we would probably be potentially off the air, according to UK government censorship, if Elon had not taken over X. But that and him taking over X caused the pendulum to swing back in the direction of the right.
You know, it's actually kind of fascinating, and there's a couple of lead-ins here that I'll mention. That it's kind of fascinating, though, how British politics and American politics do tend to mirror, and it's something that you might be able to surf on, right? Because a lot of the issues that are affecting the United States are microcosmal or exaggerated in the UK. Like the immigration stuff is so much more of a big deal there than is here. Here, people can still be kind of normie about it and not see it. Like over there, it's a huge threat, and it's kind of like, okay, this could be us a few years down the line. It's a good way of saying like, hey, these people are very similar to us. They have a problem that is very similar to us, and this is what it's driven them to. So it might be politically expedient for Americans who are trying to make that point to get somewhat involved. Like I almost see that if there was a major stalemate between the people of England and the government of England, that the United States weighs in purely to score political points here in America, but it does make a good effect. Like,
oh yeah, I think that if things start to get a little bit more spicier, the Americans, you're going to need to step in and come out on hopefully our side and go, you know what, we might need a little bit of a outward intervention here. Otherwise, things aren't going to get any better.
We're going to get Matthew Perry on a big boat, a big aircraft carrier outside London Harbor, and we're going to force the harbors open.
If I dress up as
ship out the
Matthew
immigrants.
Perry, can I do that? Can I get all the big boats and a giant army behind me? I'll stand on the front with my arms folded like one piece. And just go.
Well, I could definitely see that actually is like these are grievances. It would be funny as if the English framed it as a declaration of independence using much the same language, but with the modern grievances, because the betrayal is updated, but it's still a betrayal all the same. And you frame this. It'd be so funny if Tommy Robinson had a Declaration of Independence. It's like the Americans are, and J.D. Vance is the president at the time or something like that, or about to be the president. And he sees this as a good opportunity to reverse a lot of the damage. I was going to lead this in because Tommy Robinson also apparently likes this. Was it Skinner fellow? Thomas Skinner? Yeah.
He is, how can I best explain him? He's
he's happy.
He's just a jolly English Dino kind of regular person who got thrust into the spotlight after just saying some generic based things, some really low level stuff. But it's just stuff that sort of the regular person can be like, yeah, sips Guinness. I agree with that. Sips more Guinness.
Well, what makes him special, though, is he refused to be talked down to by an elite. Like on that show, they're telling him you should be ashamed. He's like, no, I'm not. Here's my flag. I could actually see almost us having it. Yeah, America gets the British invasions. We had a British invasion in the 60s. We had one in the 90s. The
Cool Britannia.
Cool Britannia. We actually love British culture. It'd be so funny if there's just another rush of British culture of like America attempting to like help them establish and saying like, well, because it would also be a great way for us to start washing our hands of the leftist bullshit that we've been sucked into that's been hurting Americans. Like you see Americans right now, we love deporting these illegals. And it's just like it's turning into a sport. There's gonna be like a running of the illegals in El Paso at some point soon, where a bunch of people dressed as ice, like kids are gonna. I hope kids start playing ice and instead of cowboys and Indians.
Wait, in the like that South Park episode.
I didn't even watch that. Is that what did that happen?
The Mohicans.
Oh yeah. Throw them out, everyone. The culture might be right for it. America likes to help. Like we genuinely do believe in helping.
Except think we generally like the UK too. We like the English. It's part of our history, and we kind of have the punch them, they punch back. But yeah, we very much like your country.
And we don't want you to become. We don't want you to become Americans either. We really don't. We would hate that. Yeah, I want to show up. I want to show up to England, and I want to either look like the Shire, or I've stepped into the Harry Potter world, or it's that scene from Wayne's World where he goes to London.
Yeah, I think to us, you're more like a mythical place.
Yes, it's a mythical place to us.
Well, there are some places like that. You can go, oh, this is just like Harry Potter. This is just like Diagon Alley. There are lots of places like that.
We could be that guy. Yeah. Americans are pretty cringe. Is it true, American tourists, when you meet them, you could just pick them right out?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, I've got this one anecdotal story. My uncle used to have an American girlfriend, and when he brought her to Windsor, where we have Windsor Castle, the first thing she said when we were standing outside was, "Is this a real castle?"
It's a good American accent.
And I was like, okay, you're definitely American. Oh, dear.
This is a real castle. These things are real?
Yeah, this castle is older than your entire civilization. Yes.
Well, to be fair, we have a bunch of castles that are sort of new castles that aren't really castles in America.
Yeah, we have forts. There's a castle being sold in Connecticut, I think. I follow this one Twitter account. It was like something of Zillow, or like it's just Zillow listings that are outrageous. And someone was selling a small castle for $300,000 maybe it was upstate New York, somewhere in New England. And I took a look at the pictures, and I recognized a lot of the iconography. I was like, this place was a Masonic temple. Oh shit! Some old Masonic temples being sold. We do the old world is sort of iconic for Americans. Like it is mythological. Like all of Europe is a mythological thing, and we actually do like it quite a bit. The only cross product I don't want is like hyper ethnic tension coming in, because the thing is, you don't want an ethnic awakening in America.
That's not going to work in America. It just wouldn't work.
It's so incohesive. It's so incoherent. My favorite thing to do on Twitter is get the white people to fight each other, because it's just so, because they like, oh, the white race runs America. See, this was a thing from 1790. It said so. And I'm like, what does that mean? What's white mean?
No, in America, it doesn't mean the same thing as it does in Europe, where it's always been homogenous and white for as long as history records. It's only very, very recently that we've become a multicultural place and essentially copied the American way of having lots of different colored people on television.
Well, you get to you copied the American way, but now you get the American 100 years of strife and gangs of New York. Yeah, speed right. Yeah. Well, hopefully we could. I can't see America staying out of it if there's a cohesive movement. The last thing you want, though, is this is why I think it's all an optics battle, because the last thing that America would ever want to back up is like a bloodthirsty race regime or something like that, race cleansing, something like that. Like if the language starts getting really on that level, and I'll share a bit of insight that you might want to share with the Lotus Eaters guys. Americans have a subconscious disattraction to the word indigenous and the word rights for a lot of reasons, because we essentially displaced the indigenous people here. The probably the best word to use is we're the rightful English.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, good.
Sorry, Alex's cat walked on screen. Sorry.
No worries.
She's coming in.
I was going to say, I think with part of that, like there is a kind of thing with the Native Americans, and a lot of them feel displaced, but also I think 90% of the Native Americans got wiped out by disease. So
That's correct.
It's not really,
it was more or less empty.
Yeah, there is some displacement, but a lot of it is just, inconvenient diseases.
We do things without regards to who was here before or who was here originally. And the discussion is too nuanced for normal people to really understand. Like if you talk about Mount Rushmore and you say like, well, this is the Sioux tribe who conquered it from the Kodiak tribe, who conquered it from some other tribe, right? Like that most normies aren't going to really be able to grab that. But Americans are really good about rightful. Like we're the rightful people. America's pretty much a nation held together by rights. So that word is really powerful to us. That's almost a holy word. Drawn back from our Lord, our Lord and Savior. America's a weird crypto theocracy, as people are finding, especially Tim Kaine, apparently. Yeah.
What?
Any thoughts on that, Cosmo? You got too much. He's getting distracted.
Get rid of the cat. No, yeah, we got her at a very young age, and she still likes to suckle like a kitten. Sometimes she'll come up and push her face into my beard and just start going.
Aww.
So there's an analogy I can give. I mean, I think there's some things about America and Britain, and ironically, some of the imbibing too much modern America has kind of left the UK in the position of late colonial America, where it seems to me that there is a desire to hold on to aspects of British culture, whether it's the pathological desire not to be mean or essentially to be civilized. And it seems to me that a lot of what's going on in the right-wing pushback in the Tommy Robinson stuff is like the gradual escalation of like, no, we're pushing for a redress of our problems, and we're doing it progressively louder and louder because the quiet ballot box stuff hasn't worked. But there's like deportation, so the humane solution, and there's there's seems to be some energy of like, we really don't want to get mean, don't make us be mean. Does that track for you, Samson? I mean, sort of being in the heart of this movement.
We don't want to be mean. We have the ability to be very, very mean, but that would not be becoming.
It would also wouldn't be very English, would it? Like, you got to
No.
maintain your identity throughout the struggle. Because if you use means that are antithetical to what it is to be an Englishman to get through, what does that say about an Englishman? Like, an Englishman couldn't do it. We had to become something different, which is what America does all the time, by the way. We're constantly destroying ourselves and recreating ourselves. Back to the rights thing too, the language of rights. I just realized that I was thinking about what Americans don't really understand our own history very well, but we do a lot of Civil War. For some reason, Civil War just fascinates us. One of the Civil War games is actually called War of Rights, and that's why it grips us so much. I think is because it's around this holy concept of rights here. What is the Englishman is not built that way, I think. Like, what is the English temperament? What holds the English together as a people?
Oh, that's like, okay.
And that's a big question. I know.
I'll think about that.
What is an Englishman? I suppose.
What I mean, this is a channel like where we encourage firing from the hip in this regard. Because if you overly rationalize it, you wind up at like monocausal analysis, which misses a bunch of things, or whatever. Like it is totally, I'm actually more curious what the answer from instinct is, either from the pre-rational or post-rational state. Like, just on the emotional and experiential level, what does make an Englishman for you and the English temperament and way of being?
We're asking the Englishman to not think too much and just speak freely and openly.
You kidding? Showing emotion. That's
do try. Like, what is an Englishman? What does an Englishman stand for? Because the world needs Englishmen back again.
Yes.
Straight off the top of my head, our heritage, past, and culture, all that combined into one, you existing in the now as an Englishman, you represent that. It is your duty to continue it, to protect those around you. Stiff upper lip comes to mind as well. It's quite a good catch-all phrase because you can sort of apply it to most parts of being an Englishman.
Could you explain that? What does that mean?
How can I best explain this?
I think I know what it means, but
just you know what? I'm going to find the definition very quickly and just check. I'm not.
Sure. See, if
I'm not going to completely make a fool out of myself.
Oh, it's all good. What's the thing about the stuff that really makes us, that we've internalized, right? The stuff that we've carried with us our entire life. We very rarely sit down and try to define what it is.
Okay, yeah, no, I was right in my thinking. The sort of outward displays of fortitude in the face of continuous adversity. Like, you're always, like, if you're give a World War II example, you're always cracking jokes in the face of Nazi oppression or where is it? What part?
Well, I looked up stiff upper lip, I looked up English attitudes, and I found a bunch of pictures of people walking with like their carts little baskets in the rubble of London, like during the Blitz.
Oh yes, yeah. It's the fortitude to continue on even through the ashes of civilization around you. You are the continuation of England. Get on with it. There's no point crying in the moment. It's how we survived the Blitz. It's that, thousands of people were dying. The entire city is in ruins around you, but you still got to go and get some milk for your tea.
Yeah, that's an interesting gut reflex definition because it includes the ethnic and ancestry thing. But it also paints the English as a very heavy or laden people, not in a bad way, but like that the English do self-regard as like scions of their history, and that it's deeply important on a personal level.
Yes. That is very true, because that's kind of how. It's the reason we've been sort of the driving force of most of history for thousands of years. We are the only sort of completely continuous people for thousands of years. Most other countries in Europe and also America and Asia, they've been invaded over and over again, and yet the English have always remained where we are. We've never been driven out of the islands completely. We have that sort of that sense of self-importance because we are important.
Well, right, yeah, and it's very hard to turn a people where that's their attitude into like deracinated anywhere people. There's always going to be, you know, that sense of historical continuity and like, you know, that you owe it to yourself to, you know, to be worthy of your ancestors.
Yes.
In some ways, the way you're describing it, you're like antithetical to a lot of the one world government sort of mindset that they're trying to push, like all of the globalism.
Yeah. The average English person will never support that because that's just not right, isn't it? Just not.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have built this compass, this moral compass, over quite a long period of time, and through your own propulsion, right? Like it's always been the English have been people of action, not always reaction. Now, obviously, you got the Blitz, but you took ownership of the Blitz, right? You had a sense of propriety, and propriety means self-ownership, right? Essentially, that you will not be owned by someone else. And English is a free man. It's all fascinating concepts because it does weave into what originally created the American mindset. And America very much is a place of ethnic replacement, essentially. It is more of a ship of Theseus than people want to admit. That very, very much we are parts that are trying to replace or glom onto, not even as a replacement, but glom onto an already existing structure. And that existing structure is absolutely English from our founding fathers. And we've diverged and gone a different way, obviously, as you do. So I mean, so every colony has, I think, right? Like how cohesive are the colonies with the English identity? Australia, South Africa, the English of South Africa, not the government itself.
Well, the people there, they know how good it was when we were still in complete control, and they look upon what they have since become and lament what has transpired. And I think they really do want to, like, key example, Hong Kong.
Yes,
they're not. Yeah. The people who lived under British rule very much preferred it to when we were in charge. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of see the English as you guys are very competent. You guys are very, very competent. And you're excellent educators also. If you can get through the school, proper English school, not modern university necessarily. The English are a great global force. Wielding power, however, is really messy, especially when you're dealing with third worlders, who are, as you're probably finding, a lot of third worlders are literally retarded. They cannot understand. They don't have a concept of future enough to appreciate what they have now or what will happen if they rebel. So the Englishman tries not to become racist, but the world compels it to become eventually, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, the laws of nature, physics, and reality just mean we have to.
Well, here's another fun thing. Like, tea is a Chinese product, right? I'm not drinking Chinese tea today. I'm drinking Yorkshire Gold. Exactly. So, yeah, it's cultivated. You guys are very good at cultivating. Extremely good, actually, the best.
I think they're the best. Anyway.
Well, most of the breeds of like chicken and cow come from England, or are crosses of English varieties with other varieties.
Yeah, the Aberdeen Angus is like universally known as some of the best beef on earth.
Yeah. Yes, it's the measure by which everything is. So England being the standards and weights and measures of the world, we kind of need you guys to do well, or else entire global standards are going to start slipping. They already have.
Right.
Like imagine if going to Cambridge was like a real accomplishment. Like American getting into like Cambridge University was like the biggest deal ever. and he's definitely going to go to Congress and get a proper elite training and be a proper elite. And then the English just have you guys are naturally just have tremendous amounts of soft power. Part of your there, from my third worlder mindset, it's kind of absurd that you guys governed and made rules about which cows would have sex with other which cows, but that's how you get Angus. That's right, the Aberdeen Angus. Like there's so many things that you wouldn't think to put rules on that you guys do. That is incredible and makes things that no one else can. In a proper global economy of thought, you guys could probably just exist and not ever produce anything, just produce thoughts. Global governance in a lot of ways. But
Number 2 in soft power.
Are we sure
Americans
they're
love
number
hard.
2?
Americans love hard power. Like we're not that cerebral.
Yeah.
And
We like our DOW, as it's been renamed.
We're absolute animals. There's a lot of stuff that the English don't understand about American culture too. Is that we have a thing called go pills for our soldiers? Because I think one of you guys were kind of like shocked. I was like, well, people are using meth in the military. How savage! Like, we kind of do that all the time. There's a funny story of a Green Beret who's like, oh yeah, I was fighting alongside the Marines and they were just clearing houses and they just bam, in one side out the other, and they just did that for an entire block, and then they did it again, and I was like, those guys are tweaked out, man. They didn't even slow down ever. Especially clearing the houses twice. Imagine just on the couch and a bunch of Marines bust in and point guns at you, and then you see them 20 minutes later. It's like, you were here already. It's cleared. Oh my gosh. America's a wild place. America is a great place to experiment with ideas because we will fight it out.
Yeah, you'll definitely fight us out.
So you could just
amongst yourselves.
There's an interesting thing, I think, circling back to the university discussion somewhat is the declining quality of the civil service, both in the United States and in the UK, is kind of astonishing. And I mean, the UK has a super clear example. There used to be a building in London that just said India, and it was this one building, and the entire subcontinent was administered out of it by like a shockingly small handful of dudes.
Yeah.
And like, like the decline in competence level that, the Home Office is as big as it is. The NHS is as big as it is.
It's a monster, yeah.
Managing populations that are way smaller, per administrator than England did when it was at the height of its power. So it's like, it just seems to me like one of the clear problems in America is we produce a lot of disenfranchised pseudo elites as well, but also, like college used to be, way back in the day, it was originally preparation for a career in divinity, and then eventually became something that you were doing if you were preparing for a career in the civil service. One, to cultivate that weight of history and understanding of tradition, fluency in the classics, and thereby politics and governance, and also to help you be interesting at dinner parties. And it seems like I don't know whether it's chicken or the egg, but there seems to be this declining quality in higher education and declining quality of the civil service, but also that it seems like the civil service has morphed into a patronage program where you're getting like, it's not even about administering the government over there. It's about giving jobs to people who passed favorable indoctrination tests, or keeping client populations busy. So like two things in that. One, with the shakeup in Starmer's cabinet, we recently had coming out of the Doge and USAID stuff, like massive layoffs in federal workers, and it came out that 75% of American black women with college education worked for the federal government, which is like, oh my God.
Straight up welfare.
If you're going to college as a young black woman, this is like, you're essentially preparing for, what is a very, very dressy and highfalutin welfare program. I wonder with I forget the woman who's now in the home office, but I wonder, like, is there that kind of patronage network, like welfare program with regards to the civil service, and do you see that intensifying post cabinet shakeups?
I think we got a hell of a lot coming our way in terms of the repercussions of putting these people in positions of power. I don't think anyone's going to be taking this new cabinet seriously at all. Like, do you think Donald Trump is going to walk into a room with David Lammy and go, "Yes, you're the person I want to be talking with right now"?
The great thing about Donald Trump is he's really good at destroying soft power and then throwing soft power punches, just mockery.
Oh, he annihilated Starmer both times. He's like, no, we have freedom of speech in the United Kingdom.
Absolutely mogged. America's your petri dish. I hope you guys continue producing ideas and send them over here. Sometimes you want to grab an idea and bring it back, though.
Yeah.
Are there ideas?
Yeah, you gotta repatriate all your Englishmen that came over here.
No.
All the high cheekbone slim men are gone. They've gone back to their homeland. They've went to the undying lands. Back to England. What cultural imports do you think would be good to bring back from America to England right now?
Real patriotism. Wanting to be like, yes, I am proud to be English, and outwardly so. Like, what America has right now is quite a lot of it's meaningless and performative, and doesn't really get much further aside from like affirming your own patriotism. But even that's kind of needed currently, because we've only ever been allowed to be flag wavy patriotic when it's the World Cup, when we inevitably lose in the semi-finals or the quarterfinals. Whereas you have that every day, all day. You sing the anthem in school, all that stuff. We have none of that. And a little bit of that, although in a bit more of a subtle British way, would be I think it could do quite a lot of good for our youth. But like making them feel proud to be English and growing up as an Englishman.
We have a Pledge of Allegiance in America, which always was like the most base thing we ever did. It's the longest tradition we've had in our schools, I think, or one of the longest ones. I don't know if there's like a Pledge of Allegiance that British students can say. It would be funny I would suggest a cultural thing for England is that don't wait for permission to show love and exuberance, especially for your country. And then if students just started spontaneously reciting a pledge to England, and the teachers couldn't stop them, there's too many. It was just a thing to act out. A little bit of that sort of Pink Floyd era. I'm going to assert myself over the teachers. Here's what I believe in. I believe in England, and you can throw me in detention or put me in jail if you want to. Someone's going to get on camera, and it's also great optics to see a child just showing patriotism and being punished for it. Kind of shows you exactly what the state thinks. What other things do you think you could grab on from America right now that you think England could use?
Self-defense laws, that would be very fantastic.
Yes, that would be.
We would love to give you guys the entire just the first 10 amendments, really, including the fourth one, which is really important.
Yeah,
the ability to defend ourselves against what's happening would change things overnight. Being allowed to fight back against someone robbing us on the street with the intention to, if they threaten our lives, potentially end their own, that would change everything overnight.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I was just thinking in my head, it's like we could just sell it to you, and it comes with a whole, ship full of firearms free.
Yeah, on bulk
First
discount,
Amendment.
that'd be absolutely brilliant. You know what? Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
It would be a nice change of pace from supplying the Irish.
Yeah.
Wait,
Sorry.
Or the Taliban,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
or
What's
those
the
groups in
joke
South
about
America,
the
or
Welsh
away from it.
Taliban?
The Welsh Taliban.
CIA have funded quite a lot of heinous individuals.
Oh yeah, they're the
Mhm.
worst. They're the worst. They should have been gone a long time ago. They're a cancerous ulcer on America's side. And another thing that Americans have, I do not take this part from America, by the way, it's the next part, is that we kind of don't feel terribly accountable for the stuff that our government like that we do. Like I remember someone saying, like, aren't you guys ashamed of Johnny Somali going and creating problems over in Japan? And I was like, I don't know the guy. I don't care. He's an American. I don't know. Was that whoop-de-doo? We don't have the sense of like propriety whatsoever of our fellow countrymen necessarily. We're a weird nation in that we are kind of nobody people.
I think that might even be a little bit of a problem for you guys, because how people out there, especially in Japan, see it. They see one black American behaving like that, and they start to generalize. And then another one does it, and it gets worse. And they see it as you're an American. Oh, I see. We see how it is. They're very, very racist over there, very openly so.
Yeah,
and
good for them.
I mean, they also
see a lot of subcultures in America too. Like the dichotomy between the whites and the blacks is very well known, I think. So, and there's definitely, depending on where you live, different subcultures of America.
There's also a CIA op, I think. Actually, a lot of black separatist culture, because our CIA also screws with us.
Yes, it does.
We hate them so much, but for some reason they persist.
So there's so Samson, you're like a big Japan guy, right?
What could you tell? How could you tell?
But I mean, do you see the Japanese being like a similarly laden people to the English, where they view themselves as carrying a similarly strong continuity?
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of reading about Japanese history recently, and they as a people see themselves as the England of Asia.
Yes,
we're sort of unique in our two histories in that they, like England, have been contiguous since like 2,000 years ago. They have always existed whilst others have risen and fallen, and they are the same in that they see themselves as it's part of the reason they desired colonial expansion in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, was that they were like, we've seen what the West is doing, and we want to do that in Asia. We want to be the English Empire, but for Asia.
That's interesting. It's interesting that happened to both island nations. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Corner boys, rise up.
It's entirely that. It's the sort of the safety and security that being island nations has given us from roving bands of Mongolian outriders or steppe peoples. It's essentially led us to be the most what's the best phrase for it?
I would say cultivated is a good word for you guys.
Yeah, we've been very Japan, lesser so, because they sort of ran modernity.
Yeah, they did, sure did.
After Perry and the Meiji Restoration, where they're like, you know what? They were still a feudal society when we were making steam trains, and they went from that to having one of the most powerful navies on planet Earth and invading like a huge portion of Asia, and beating the Americans and Europeans out of all of their territories in the region in like the space of a couple of decades. Like
it's powerful, and I bet England would be able to do the same thing if the roles are reversed. I think you guys are pretty quick on the uptake. As you were saying before, the civil service administrators, when they're proper, when it's not a welfare state, like a welfare system, patronage system, you guys are able to move people around very quickly, very, very quickly. And that means that you as a nation, when you're working properly, are really nimble Whereas right now, it's like if you have a muscle that's really real well developed, and now you have that same muscle and it's become very poor, right? You're going to now see the opposite effects. So you'd think that the administrative state is a terrible thing in England. Like, oh, they should just get rid of it. Americans would definitely say that because we're all bonkers. But like once you've healed that administrative state, I think you guys would probably be able to be on top again. Actually, it's kind of fun. Like self-defense, no more patronage system. Maybe do the same thing America has to do, which is get rid of the university system being essentially like a secondary school, name brand good. There's a few tweaks that you have to do, and I think you guys would be back to.
Yeah, it's like what you said about the India building. Like we didn't need thousands and thousands and thousands of petty managers and managers above managers and HR. Do you think they had HR in that building that stopped someone from saying a swear word? No, that was one of the most profitable buildings in all of existence.
Right. Amazing. Yeah. Well, we could pray for that day to come again. I don't want to keep you guys too long. It's the 2-hour mark. Samson, do you want to? Is there anything else you want to talk about, or is a closing subject you want to go with?
Oh no, I'm happy to keep
going
with whatever you need, or end whenever you want. It's fine. I'm in
sure.
no rush.
No, I'm just giving you an out. Is what I was doing.
That's all right. I don't need out.
I try to give people outs. You guys are so damn polite that I have to. It's a lot dealing with. I deal with both the Japanese and the English, all at the same job. I've done so for decades now, and you have to give people outs. It's like a part of the culture. The English probably could have like an etiquette school where you guys describe like, okay, in a conversation, this is how you allow people to come in. This is how you allow people to go out. It's a lost art. Just that basic interaction.
Well, it's like we kind of have the version. There's giving the out and taking the out, because we now have in America the Midwest goodbye.
What's that?
Slapping your legs.
No, that's the endless ritual starting in the living room, with like the implicit out, and then continuing to talk for another 30 minutes, and then going to the porch and talking for another 30 minutes, in the car and like still talking and waving goodbye.
I think it'd be funny if there's like a room full of dudes who are all but one are trying to end the conversation, so everyone's doing the knee slaps. Well. Yep. Next guy's like, yep. It's just never. That's one of the thing I love about British comedy too, is you guys are very self-reflective. So you guys will kind of mock yourselves quite a bit. America could probably use that. You guys could always just mock us too. We don't mind it.
Self-deprecation is a very, very important skill in England. I'm very good at it.
I think it'd be. Samson,
that was a good.
More compliments to Samson.
Samson, I have a great idea for a lads hour. If you ever want to do it,
go ahead.
Everyone is doing their American impression.
Oh God!
And they're in character for the entire lads hour. Howdy there, folks.
How's it going?
This is buddy hour, something like that. That making fun of Americans is probably the funniest show you guys could do. Don't ever feel like you're hurting our feelings. We don't have feelings. We're like a. What would hurt Americans' feeling? Cosmo, help me out here. So I'm trying to think. I think.
Oh God.
I think shitting on some of our sacred symbols would do it.
Yeah.
You shoot a bald eagle.
The flag burning thing like pushes buttons. Like as a speech question, it's actually really, really innocuous. But I mean, it is a sacred animal for us.
I can make 9/11 jokes. Those are easy.
Oh, those are fine. That's fine. I'm gonna go find in the chat because I found someone made a mock-up of Hulk Hogan in the 9/11, and it's really, really funny. So I'll go find that later. I'll just DM it to you guys after the show. I look at it to cheer up. It's Hulk Hogan like smacking the building and like taking a big chair and hitting it, and then like there's one where he's peeking around the building like staring at the people who are running. It's pretty dark humor. I think it's funny. Was it Gilbert Godfrey got in trouble for saying that my I'm sorry I'm late. My connecting flight was going to the what was it? Empire State Building or something like that. We're pretty quick about it. The thing is we like making fun of ourselves, but we're bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the British are really good at biting it, like having a real bite to it. So I look forward to see that. You looking up something, Cosmo?
Yeah, I was actually just pawing back through the definitions or the criteria we put together for the helping us define what is an American and trying to true it up for what is an Englishman with Samson's intuitions. I guess I'm kind of having a follow on because what it is to be English. Okay, lineage is a part of it. Attitudes, customs, weight of history, and connection to tradition, and then connection to land and future of land. What is so we've got what is the English, what is the British? Because those are two ongoing conversations, and the answer does seem to be very different. I almost wonder if what is it to be British is almost more like what is it to be an American.
English is fundamentally you are from England, you are of the land of England, you're genetically from here, emotionally, culturally, everything is England. British, on the other hand, is sort of it's England, Englishness, but more than that, it's it is the union of, on the base level, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and the colonies. It is the empire. It is is the pinnacle of what our society was. Being British has essentially been reduced nowadays to you're not English, but you're from Britain. You're British, not English. But you can be British and English, if that makes sense. But you cannot be English if you are just British. I don't know if that made sense.
It does. It seems like the British is a great side ethnic label, like a pseudo ethnicity, where it's like if you're trying to embody the values and you allow yourself to be governed by governed by English.
Britishness is seen as a pseudo ethnicity to people who aren't from here, where it's more of just it's kind of what it is, but Englishness or Welshness or Scottishness, that's the ethnicity, but Britishness is not an ethnicity, although it's used in place of it to sort of be woke about the people living here who are not English.
That concerns me because I know that the same sort of woke people will use different things like sex and gender in the same sort of vein, like, oh, the English versus the British. And then it's like, well, sex versus gender. One means your biological sex and the other one means whatever you decide in your head. But the words themselves are kind of held interchangeably so that people get confused. Even though there are these, they try to make these distinctions. And so like when you say British or English in America, usually those are held interchangeably. They kind of mean the same thing. There's an implication that when you say British, you're saying the ethnic English, and then a lot of the English people will sometimes rightfully get upset because they're like, no, I'm ethnically English. And that's two very different things. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's interesting because there's something I was reflecting on between now and our last recording is that to be what is an American actually often has a couple of definitions. One is the hard, like, know it when you see it American, like somebody who really embodies being an American. And I introduced the idea that it's actually less like hard requirements and more like a checklist where you need 10 out of 15. Americans
are non-homogenous.
I did not get the checklist tidied up. But it does occur to me that there's a looser imperial identity to American, which is often said, but doesn't include many of the essential, what most Americans would regard as essential characteristics. It seems to me that being British is also itself a loose imperial identity And maybe this is just watering down with partially with descendants of imperial subjects who have looser understandings. I mean, but it also seems to me that there are many English in places like London who are abandoning the cultural ladenness of the English identity and in their heart of hearts, at best going only by the imperial British identity. And it seems to me that the imperial identity actually doesn't include loyalty to country. And maybe that's an effect of this watering down. But when I look at British elites, including Englishmen, who do seem to be like unladen with that understanding of Englishness. I mean, does that match your experience? And is that something that you see like coming into the British identity, and that it doesn't seem to have cultural loyalty?
To a certain extent, yes. The people who claim to be British, and go, no, I'm not English. I'm not English, I'm British.
Yeah.
Those people, those are the sort of the woke, modern, younger, lefty, liberal generation.
Mm-hmm.
And other sort of boomerish left-wing types who are almost proud to not be classing themselves as English because they see it as the sort of base, like, oh no, English flag, you're a racist.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, there's a heavily, I mean, it seems to me, and I don't know if this is the case, but it seems to me that there's a heavy like urbanist association with that as well.
Big cities. Left-wing people in the big cities, they hate to be referred to as English. They want to be called British because that includes the Indians and every other
inclusive
subsector,
that's right,
the African people.
That reminds me of a while ago. There was a video game that was released, and I think it may have been like a GTA or one of those games where it was in London. And then one of the characters they introduced was a little old lady with a gun, and they were playing the old
that's Watch Dogs 3.
Yeah.
God, that game is awful. Oh, you made me think of that game now. Oh no.
Oh no, we're bringing back memories.
But basically it was like, oh yeah, the patriotic song and the whole English identity goes to the little old lady with a giant gun. And I feel like that's not an issue of it being lost on the younger generation, especially if you have such a culture of handing down the culture to the next generation.
Yeah, it's those sort of portrayals of what foreigners think Englishness is like and what Britishness is like. It's literally just stereotyping.
Yeah,
and not even successfully.
I think
it's interesting that there's the Cockney stereotype is very, very persistent overseas. Because the Cockneys were like a super unique like sub ethnicity, that was indigenous to parts of London for hundreds and hundreds of years. Like depictions of media, especially like British crime shows and stuff, like Cockneys were a big deal. And it's like, a part of the international British image includes these people that are essentially going extinct because of the actions of like, the British Empire still occupying England and like, like kicking them out of the capital city and like, deracinating the English identity. So like, a lot of places vision of the British includes people that no longer exist because of the actions of the British.
That's sad.
No, it's true. The Cockneys are being ethnically displaced from their ancestral homelands, but via elites who are essentially forcing them to move to coastal like Essex towns and places where they're not from, because they used to stay there. The Cockneys, they used to inhabit all the central boroughs of London, the sort of working class boroughs of London. That was their land, that was their people, their culture was from there. Pie and mash shops, local pub, corner shops, go down to watch the
Mm.
local football game in the local green. That is all gone because now, especially in somewhere like Tower Hamlets, Canary Wharf, that small subdivisions,
Mm.
Ealing. There's loads of places just entirely
Mhm.
ethnically replaced.
Mhm.
How much of that do you think is the upper classes just hating the lower classes? Do you think that
Oh.
has anything to do with it, or
It's not upper classes. It's the people who've become pseudo upper class via modernity. Like the actual upper
Right.
classes are just not worried. They live in the countryside in the big houses, and they haven't seen multiculturalism and its damages unless when they're in London dealing with their tax returns with their lawyers and their
okay?
accountants.
So what's the distinction between the pseudo upper class and the actual upper class, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, the actual upper class is like real, actual, like high class nobility.
Yeah. Our
descendants
Migris
of-
families, people with coat of arms and letters before and
So-
after their name.
Whereas what I class as pseudo upper class is what America has as your upper class. It's you're not like your bloodline doesn't essentially allow you to inherit an estate like a fourth of the size of like you don't inherit a county with being an American upper class. You might be the heir to a media empire or a very large set of businesses or lots of land, but you could become working class very quickly, whereas that can't happen for the actual English upper class. And in England, we've got a lot of these new pseudo upper class types who might have grown up very poor, but they've become very successful in their business. It's that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
The blooded versus the moneyed upper class.
Yeah. In a strict class system, I mean, America does not have a strict class system, and we often struggle to understand it as a result. Most of the world's elite and ruling class is or like ruling class, the cadres that actually run countries, make decisions, populate, most of the government that isn't titled nobility with an ostensible role or monarchy. Almost all of those people are ascended and extremely economically powerful middle class. It is essentially almost every government in the world is run by the merchants.
It's exactly that. Yeah.
As a Japanophile, actually, so this book I think is written by oh no, I guess he's American. Have you read Shibumi?
Sorry, say it again.
Shibumi. It's one of the like big inspirations for John Wick. But it's actually kind of about this merchant versus warrior elite clash. The book is not without flaws, but the main character of the book, who's like, the world's premier assassin, is raised in wartime Japan, and develops a lot of cultural views from that. It just hit me as like, if you're in the mood for a flawed but fascinating novel, this might be right up your alley.
No, I haven't read it. It's on my list of books I need to find a copy of. But I'm currently have this horrible affliction, which means I have to buy hardback editions of the books I buy because I'm becoming an book elitist, and I want my collection to be hardbacks, not paperbacks. And it means that I have to spend much longer looking for hardbacks on eBay of old copies. I've just bought a load of old history books. I just bought one called The Bombing War by Richard Overy, which is all about Allied bombing campaigns in Europe and also over Japan. And it took me a very long time to find a hardback that wasn't ridiculously expensive of that book. But I couldn't buy a paperback.
You've got to have the true wall of power.
Yeah, hardbacks look so much better on the shelf.
Yeah, they feel better to read too. Like a paper, it just feels like a fake book if you have a paperback. I do the same thing. Yeah, the rise of the global merchant class, I'm like conflicted about because warrior societies tend to be extremely regressive. They're very honorable, I suppose, but like Japan was ruled by warriors for quite a while, and then they were forced by a merchant warrior nation, Americans, hired guns nation, I suppose I call it.
They were still ruled by warriors until basically just before World War II. Like the samurai shogunate class, that they still existed until like the 20s and 30s, even though they're very old.
Yeah.
And they were only replaced by the sort of and the evolution in their military, which was like basically before they started conscripting people, farmers and work hands into the military, the Japanese military, it wasn't like that. It was like a lot more honorable. You couldn't just do it as your average peasant.
I see.
And
they had a bit of blooded, because the warrior cultures tend to be very blooded.
Yeah, over the course of the First World War and Second World War, and also the Japanese-Russian War, that is when it all changed from simply the warrior class to more of a, I don't want to call it pseudo warrior class. I just use that term, but you kind of get what I mean. They're no longer, the old blood no longer existed. It was the new blood that drove them forward and changed things.
Yeah, kind of the age of blood sort of ended around the same time for a lot of cultures, and England is the last one that still has some of that. America hates the blooded culture. We're very anti-blood. You'll see tons
of a crip culture.
Oh, more of a what?
Crip culture.
What does that mean?
Sorry.
Yeah, we have a lot of like movies and fiction where it's like the old blood versus an upstart nobody, underdog. We like an underdog, but
yeah, we very much like the underdogs.
I think there's a lot of fictions though where we like the blood though too. So it kind of depends, right? Like we're all about Lord of the Rings. Love that more than any of our own culture. So I guess it depends.
Yeah, you guys still yearn to have that sort of mythical, like royalty above you, not above you, but as part of your culture.
Yeah, we don't like being ruled by anybody. I think we like it being a myth. I think we put it into a compartmentalization of like, that's an awesome world to live in, but it's not who we are.
I think that's a growing thing on the American right. I mean, there's the cringe rationalist monarchists of, like sort of the Yarvin school that, like it often reads to me as like baby diaper shitting. I want my way now, give me the magic button to escape. But there's, like, as American right-wing thinking goes from sort of the stagnated old Republican alliance into like actually developing a new understanding of conservatism, I think there's, sections of American right-wing thinking that are starting to become appreciative of aristocracy and the stabilizing effects it has on a society. That it is actually good for you. It does fulfill an adaptive function. It's just very hard to bootstrap it from nothing.
Well, the problem we're having though is that all of these sort of dynastic institutions in America are leftists and we hate them. Like George Soros is a good one. Murdochs are a good one. It's tough because Americans don't like to be ruled by anybody. We don't even like our own government, and Americans almost would prefer an anarchy if we could. And we're kind of just doing our own thing. We're sort of a peasant nation. We prefer everyone be a peasant, but we know that we can't do that. So what's that?
Is that like is that why you have so many sovereign citizens?
Yeah. Well, those people. Yeah. It comes from the desire that you don't have to be governed, or that you don't have to follow someone else's rules. It's a little. If you want to do that, you can go move to Alaska and live in the bush, or out in the hinterlands. We have a lot of land here, but also you just have Americans are also just absolutely mental. The mental stress of being an American and having not really a lot of grounding, and this being a hyper competitive environment where the sort of Gaussian distribution of IQs. It just keeps moving to the right of what is able to get you a decent lifestyle. Like what is like back in the farmer days, you could probably have like an 85 IQ, 90 IQ, you'd be okay. You know, you read the Farmer's Almanac, you know, it's going to rain soon, so go do these things. It's sunny, so let's go do that thing. And it's the same way my dad taught me. Things change so much here, and the requirements of having a good life is actually very different. Even a stable life is going up and up. So the mental stresses on Americans is actually pretty nuts. So sometimes you think that there's a behavior that's substantial, but it's actually just people going crazy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what Charles Murray's The Bell Curve is about. Is like that the modern world is increasingly from extremistan and following, as we go, much more winner take all dynamics, and this winds up heavily selecting for intelligence and therefore dispossessing the less intelligent at an increasingly alarming rate. People talk about tech oligarchs. This may be like equity lords may make up a feudal system in the very near future, and it's like constantly leading me back to like, yeah, democracy like may be very brief, like weird brief interludes between long periods of feudalism.
Yeah, our technocracy in America is attempting to make parallel government through their technological ecosystems.
Well, if there is a desire in America for a return to sort of semi-aristocracy, I wonder what that would look like. I think, like, because if there's a rise of the merchant class, would it be, in America, it really seems like it would be based on how much money you have. And then with the rise of AI technology, there's almost like, you don't need a slave class if you have a AI robotic class. And so even the lower classes that would be working these manual labor jobs, what would they even do in this sort of society?
Right.
Because before
that's a fair question, and it may be that like a technologically mediated return to feudalism may actually look like a massive human selection gate.
Yeah, or bread and circuses, where you have a universal basic income for a large section of the population, just like allowing them to get by.
I have so many minds about this sort of thing. Because I try to believe in the goodness of people, and I'm always disappointed. I also understand, like, remember working with the third worlders is like people. Members of my family still have more or less compelled labor, or they're not technically slaves, but if my family did not keep them, they would die. It's essentially like, yeah, you're free to go to the endless desert of human carnage. So instead they make us dinner. And we give them a place to live. Like they don't.
It really bothers me because on one hand, it's like we were all talking about earlier, not having a job at some point and how miserable it was. Well, think about these giant, massive, portions of our population that are, just getting universal basic income and have no jobs. You've basically robbed them of a sense of purpose. And I feel like that's exceptionally dangerous.
I want a Victorian style garden hermit. I want to just live in a little hut in my garden. That'd be pretty awesome. That's probably what you might end up getting, is that you end up having people who are very, and by the way, the technology, these techno elites are inherently global.
Yeah.
And they're also key to the military. So the bridge between merchant and military is technology. Right. So they actually govern all of the hard power of the United States, which is why Donald Trump has to make accommodations to the sort of tech sector that he has to. Or else America's domination falls apart like a house of cards, as all empires do. It's a nuanced thing, but the tech oligarchs are beginning to transcend simply making technology widgets and dollars, and wanting to govern and wanting to socially engineer. And it seems pretty obvious to me that they want peasants. They're kings without peasants.
Well, in some ways, it might be a good thing that England reemerges, it's like reasserts itself as a culture and rejects all this globalism, because then it's sort of like maybe there's hope for humanity in England if America goes down this road of, hyper AI technologies and universal basic income and globalism.
No pressure, Samson. You
Uh,
gotta save us. Your only hope.
uh,
Well, it's funny because you actually kind of are, because the Lotus Eaters is probably one of the only few places that speaks about this stuff.
Yeah.
That is properly thinking about things. Like, you guys are almost the first Continental Congress of England, and that you guys are the ones who are putting the Jeffersonian level of thought into statecraft, into what makes a civilization from the beginning onto something that you can actually be actionable. And much like the first Continental Congress, you guys are coming to blows. It's great to see. Conflict is fun. I think what are there any other outlets? I know there's New Culture Forum, but I just sort of see them pop up once in a while. It's never anything I really care to.
Whilst I don't want to disparage New Culture Forum,
not your cup of tea.
They can't operate in the same way we do, partially based on how they're funded and partially based on the circles, the people who participate in New Culture Forum move in. No fault of their own. They're still very, very good, but we have a lot more freedom to say what needs to be said, sometimes to our own detriment, but most of the time not. No, they're good. I wish the guys funding them could also fund us a little bit, though.
Right. Okay, Cosme, you had something you want to say?
Oh yeah, just mentioning that. I mean, one thing I've noticed, over listening to the Lotus Eaters for years is like, and this seems to be, connected to the intensity of the government crackdown on speech and how much wider it's getting. I have noticed, like, speaking about ordinary political matters, that the team has to be like much more guarded and like euphemism-y in their language. Is that something you guys are actively feeling the pressure on there in your tenure?
Yeah, we have no choice. If we don't do the euphemisms, if we don't speak in those ways, we will lose our jobs and be unable to continue doing what we're doing. We literally have no choice. The law prohibits us from I don't want to, jokingly using the hard R live on stream. That's the most extreme example, but we also can't do basic criticisms of identity groups and all that kind of stuff. It's like we cannot say any of those things. We can't. The euphemisms are our only way to say what we really think. The stuff we say in the office, off camera, would, I think, shock people due to how much more reserved and stiff upper lip we are on stream.
That would be so funny to watch. I hope that it'd be great if someone was recording it and you just keep it, like, just in case. It's like someday we'll release the backstage stuff. Someday we'll release this when we're free enough. I did see Dan was probing about, hey, what's a nice place to move to America if we had to move our show to America? Is there anything about that going on?
Well, basically, if we keep getting taxed into oblivion,
right,
and if speech laws become much more draconian, some people may have to escape, basically, to avoid persecution. I don't think it's going to happen personally, because I think what America is doing to, like, go, hang on a second, what the fuck is this? When it comes to these free speech issues, I think that's going to stop that from actually happening.
Right. We're putting on the pressure back in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Which is
the only thing stopping us from being taken off the air, I think, because if they could, they would just be like, no, you're opposition. No, get fucked.
Right.
Well, someone's going to have to take some. Oh, sorry about that, Luna. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, well, Elon's definitely been retweeting you guys and definitely has a spotlight on you guys. So if you guys suddenly disappear, Elon is one step away from Trump, basically.
Yeah. No, we through various networks, I'm sure we have people who are in good books of the White House. Like we have contacts with Tim Pool and all those guys. We're all friends, so we know what we're doing. There are avenues we can take. But then again, I do keep finding myself looking at like American state tier lists and going, oh, which food is better? Which state has the most interesting museums for me to visit?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you guys could probably leverage Lotus Eaters to have your American fans house you if you ever want to come over as just a trip.
Oh yeah,
visually see it. Also, good ribbing on America is fun. So if you came to America and just like, oh, this is shite, or something like that. My wife showed me Jeremy Clarkson saying, "I'm in America, and everyone is stupid, fat, and rude." Just saying. It was pretty funny. I was like, yeah, they are. So, I mean, would you guys ever be interested in doing documentary style stuff?
Oh yeah, we want to do all that stuff. It's just funding and money and time.
Right.
I can imagine more of that stuff might happen in maybe next year.
It's just awesome.
Resource stretched. We want to do it. I want to do it. I love using my camera, and any excuse to travel, I will do it. Carl hates traveling, but some of us want to travel, which is the reason I go to Japan. I think I might be going like every year for the next couple of years. My plan
That's awesome. Good
is,
for you.
that's just me personally. Like, you know what? I love going there, but I also want to go to America on holiday as well. That's on my list. I've got a list of places I want to go to. Most of them are museum oriented.
Okay, so you like museums?
Like on the south coast of America, you've got like multiple different historic ships, like military ships using as museums. Like you've got Yorktown. There's a battleship as well. There's a couple battleships you have moored up that I want to go and see. That's just me being a military nerd.
Well, we could take this offline later, but we can definitely recommend you lots of places to go. I made an itinerary for Callum a long time ago. He didn't have time to do it, but it was like there's places where we just have straight up rockets just chilling out there for you to go and touch. You can walk up to them. There's like a Hermes too. There's the atom bomb is actually just chilling there. The shell of the atom bomb.
Yep.
Is hanging out. You just walk up.
Yeah, I want to go to Hawaii. That's another big place. I really want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, that's
a
tough one. Yeah.
If you're ever doing museums, and I'll just put this one out there, for anyone who's listening too, for art collections, the biggest hidden gem in the entire United States is actually the National Portrait Gallery. It sounds like the most boring thing on earth, and their art collection is like jaw-dropping.
We got a lot of gems in America. Like the Penn Museum actually has a really good exhibit of mummies, not just like the famous era of mummies, but like the proto mummies, the ones that were before, with full dioramas and actual specimens that are on display. It's just some random Philadelphia museum. $10 you go in. I'm gonna check out the National Portrait Gallery. You guys got to go to the Smithsonian before they take the gay away, because Trump's gonna make it not gay anymore.
No,
it's your last chance.
I'll wait until the gays disappear, then I'll go and actually read the real history.
Do you think they're going to wheel out the giants?
Oh yeah, that's right. They destroyed the giants. They keep them hidden. They don't want people to know about giants.
It's a conspiracy theory that we have giants or Nephilim or whatever, and they got the mummies of them, and they just keep them somewhere in the back.
I'm telling you, America is a crypto theocracy. People don't realize it, but we are weird as hell. It is. America is also a place that this what is American thing is so fascinating to me, because America is so many things. We have a very big divide. It's almost like you could think of us as a masculine country in that sense, that it's completely unregulated. So we have a very wide Gaussian distribution, but you'll not find the most kind-hearted people and the most cutthroat people in the world here. Absolutely. And then up along the intelligence spectrum as well. You'll find super intelligent cutthroats, your Eric Prince, I suppose. You'll find hyper intelligent businessmen. We're being ruled at the moment by a New York real estate developer. What the fuck? What a weird country. So it's a self paradoxical country. Stuff shouldn't work, and then it does. It's a fascinating place to behold. Keep an open mind if you ever come along, but understand that you are sort of Jane Goodall among the chimps. You should just study them.
Well, the trouble is, there's so much for me to bloody go and see and do. Like, I've got a list of a couple places. Like, I want to go and see. Obviously, I want to go to, well, as I just mentioned, I want to go see the USS Yorktown, and that's in Charleston. There's two other battleships in the South Coast. There's the USS Texas in Galveston, which I think is not open at the moment. There's what's the other one I found? The USS Alabama. That's in Mobile. That's a strange
Mobile.
name for a city. Mobile.
Mobile.
I think you're gonna have to just write up a list of like, do you want to see battleships? Do you want to see?
Well,
like,
that's only part of it.
museums?
I also want to go see places like what's it called? Gettysburg. I hear about that so much in Civil War stuff. I was like, you know what? I need to go see that at some point.
I don't know. if that's a good-
Gettysburg is cool, and like the tours and stuff are cool. It is kind of just a field.
It is, I'm about to say, like you might want to just catch a Civil War recreation that's near wherever you're at, because they happen all the time. You want to see some big cannons, fire. You want to see a dude in garb give a speech about freedom.
No, that's on the list. Go see some American Civil War stuff. I don't know enough about that or anything about that. I'm honest.
As a former Virginia resident, Gettysburg was something you would go and spend like 45 minutes seeing on your way to the waterside park.
Yeah, you don't want to. Okay. It's unless you're there to pay respects, like as a sacred site of sacrifice, like your grandfather, great grandfather, or whatever fought there.
All right.
It's not going to hit the same. It's not going to be that impressive. I tell you what, if you just gave us a region or just a preference, we could probably crowdsource here and get you a really good itinerary to maximize your time.
I want to see history things. That's my jam. Learn about history.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah. We have a lot. Yeah, we've got a lot there. You're going to have to be more specific about what kind of history you want to see.
No, I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But yeah,
Savannah, Georgia. If you're going to Charleston, is like right nearby, beautiful town. Like super, super close. Savannah, Georgia is an immensely well-preserved, has an immensely well-preserved old town. And there is just tons of history. It's also
single? Samson, are you single?
Yes.
There's a lot of hot chicks in Savannah.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
There is a lot of hot chicks. The English accent will go far.
Oh, dude, you guys get like
trust me,
+2 on your like 1 to 10 ranking there. It's like you guys have such an inherent advantage. The main disadvantage is that all the women are American. So
yeah. Sorry. But I mean, like, a lot of people I've noticed when I talk to them online, like, oh yeah, you're hot. I don't know what the problem is. I'm like, have you seen the women around here? I am not that hot. Like, you want to talk about, like, I think I'm blanking on her first name, Sweeney, the one that's super famous.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
Where do you think she came from?
Yeah. The South is full of women like that.
Dude, I talk about cultivation. Like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe we have got the most best breeding in the whole world.
It's like women like that one-shot British people, because we are surrounded by British women.
I have dealt with British women before. I've dealt with they're nice. They're really nice. They're really nice. I like Welsh. The Welsh accent's really nice.
What I need to do is go over to England and then bring me back a husband somewhere. But I'm afraid that if I bring him back, all the other girls are going to jump on him.
You got to get a shy one. You got to get a guy who can't handle too much social.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's
a lot of people over here. That's a lot of people. Like, socializing is different in the UK and America. And you got different groups of people who do different levels of socializing, and it's like I don't want to say like different species of Englishmen.
Well, God gave the Englishman strong drink because he wished for the English to continue and prosper. That's your social lubricant. I think, from what I gather.
We don't drink light beer here.
No, I don't. That stuff's. I once drank an entire pitcher of that. I didn't feel a thing. I was like Legolas over there. I want to go and do some proper drinking.
No, light beer is an abomination and should be eradicated from American culture.
I drink roughly, not quite maybe it is half a liter of whiskey, whatever we're doing the stream. So I'm about a half a liter of whiskey in. Is that right? Yes. I have a decanter and I just sort of empty it as I go.
I've almost gone for an entire can of Guinness while I've been here.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
I think everyone's drinking.
I don't
trust a man who's not I don't trust a
One of
man
the
who hasn't drunk.
rambliest streams we did, I was I know, like, oh yeah, my alcohol volume converts directly to rambliness on this stream, because I looked down after a particularly rambly one because I was low on beer and liquor, and I just saw 2 empty wine bottles. I'm like,
Damn,
boy.
son.
Oh no. Oh
Some
no.
barefoots. I think it'd be funny if we had a stream where we would take this thing over to Rumble and just say what we really think. Like afterwards, like, all right, we're in too deep. We're just getting mealy mouth. Let's go and just say exactly what we really think.
I do have a bottle of scotch
God.
behind me.
It's pretty good time over there, actually. What is it, like 7?
It's almost 7 o'clock actually.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about Scotch time. There's a
I haven't eaten dinner yet though. That's something I need to do at some point.
I might
have something there. It's fine.
I'm about to get some drinking recommendations from you guys. If you guys had if Lotus, you just had a drinking list of this is what's good.
We have done a beer tier list, lads. Hour.
Oh, did you?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I
you
saw that one.
even cameoed my hand on that one when I stole a bottle of beer from the desk.
Yeah, it was more like a Japanese beer.
I think it was. It was actually an Asahi I stole.
Asahi is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they brew that in Italy.
Oh, did they?
What?
Nice.
Yeah. I buy ones that are actually brewed in Japan from a supermarket in London, a Japanese supermarket. But the ones you get on the everyday short store shelves, they're brewed in the same factory as Peroni is, and that's Italian. So
they pull the same stupidity in America, so that kind of hurts.
Yeah, so if you're drinking like quote unquote Japanese beer in America, you're probably not.
Yeah.
That's
It's a specialty importer, and you know it's Japanese beer if it costs twice as much because they've had to import it.
Right.
Mhm.
Did you know
America
that
has a reverse one of those? One of the best beers in America that you can get, like large distribution, like, you know, closer to like macro brew is Trumer Pilsner, and it's like a local town beer somewhere in Germany. Like that's where it started, that's where it was from. And then a couple cases got like randomly imported to Berkeley, California and sold like gangbusters. Trumer eventually opened up a brewery in Berkeley, and like their American business and even just their Californian business dwarfs their German business by many orders of magnitude.
Well, this is what you can do though, is because the sort of refinement of Europe sells really, really well here in America, like, or the refinement of proper cultures.
Oh yeah, Americans think Stella Artois is classy, and it's called Wife Beater over there.
I know it's for bashing your exactly.
Look, in the last week, I've refused 2 people trying to offer me Stella Artois. I've gone, I'd rather be sober. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Proper beer. Now, I will say in defense of American beers is that we do have most of our good beers are actually just from microbrews. So you'll have like a town that just has its own brewery. Like we have Red Silo down the road, and they make a really good lager. But it
doesn't work here in the UK. If you're drinking microbrewery craft beer, you're essentially just a wanky
hipster.
Right? Wannabe pseudo intellectual. I'm drinking craft beer. Thank you very much.
Oh God.
No,
it's kind of the same here too.
Well, yeah, especially the IPA stuff. That was a little rough.
Gosh, IPAs. Don't get me started on IPAs.
Oh my God! I went to game night.
If you refine your palate and get it used to being blown out.
He's an IPA defender. We knew. Yeah.
I actually am an IPA defender.
That's
it's not the end all be all, but there is a niche for it.
We have these things here called real ales. Real yes. Ale. We have to specify
not the trash developed for the Empire.
We have my favorites: Old Speckled Hen, Hobgoblin. What's the matter, son? You're afraid you'll taste something? That's where that means. Hobgoblin.
Oh man, that was my favorite drinking hole back when I lived in California. There's a place called The Pub. It's just over the Berkeley city line, like Berkeley, Albany. Or it might be on the Albany side. I'm not sure. It's like a converted house. They take only cash. They have like front patios for smoking, and then like a back room that they knocked one wall out of and is now a patio also for smoking. So they're a tobacconist and bar, only cash,
nice.
Old Speckled Hen on tap. It's fantastic.
I'm trying to grow my own tobacco, and I'm resuming beer making operations. Here I am, moonshining as well. Hopefully, I've got to keep myself occupied this winter because it got down to like negative 14 Fahrenheit a couple of years ago. Like our winters are really brutal for some reason.
What's the Fahrenheit? I don't know
What's
what
the
that is.
Fahrenheit?
Yeah, no, that sounds
after
foreign
you
to me.
sneeze.
Foreign.
Actually, what's your I wonder what you guys' impression would be if we brought some American beers. Stone Brew, Alex, you know Stone Brewing Company, right?
Yeah, Stone's great.
Yeah, it's kind of like I would say that's a sort of standard, really good American beer. That's not a microbrew. It's not a microbrew, although it is from California.
So, well, I mean, I pushed this one on the last Lotus Eaters Gold Call. Like, if you're coming to America to drink, go to Wisconsin. Like an alarming, like anytime you see top 10 lists of best beers in the world, an alarming percentage of them are all from New Glarus Brewing in Wisconsin.
Where is Wisconsin? Where is that?
So it's away from everything else.
Don't go there in winter.
It's like it's like up near Minnesota and Illinois. Like
north
Milwaukee
middle
is basically a suburb of Chicago.
No, my plan is potentially fly into Boston and then make my way city hopping down across the South Coast, potentially, or in the southern states, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You could actually do that with Amtrak pretty efficiently if you wanted to. There's a direct.
It's like the one place where rail is actually decent in America is the Eastern Seaboard.
Well, it's New England, right? Let's try. Yep. That's so funny that America tried. What do you English think about when America starts trying to crib your culture? Like, yes, we've reinvented the pub.
Without meaning to be rude, it's just funny, and we're like, this, this isn't working, right? You're essentially LARPing.
Yes, it's a whole LARP. This is a whole LARP nation. I was actually thinking about learning how to do stonework so I could build my own just one man pub chilling out here because apparently it's not proper building unless it's made out of stone or something.
If you build something out of wood, that's a shed for your back garden.
Is brick okay?
Brick, yeah. If you're building with proper brick, it's not going to get blown down in a little bit of hurricane wind.
By the way, it's funny to me because I think Callum said this. It's like, why do you Americans build your houses out of like paper and wood? What if there's like you guys have the Second Amendment there, so there might be bullets flying through? And I was like, I don't know if you guys understand the conditions in America that we don't usually have events. Now stuff does blow away, but
America, various regions of America are subject to wide and diverse varieties of natural disaster. And like local building styles outside of the initial colonial areas are all dictated by what kind of natural disaster you have.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, earthquake houses are a different breed too, because you probably couldn't build
brick construction basically doesn't exist in most of California because of earthquakes.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, well, California deserves to be a pile of ruins anyway.
It used to be the jewel of America, and also a lot of our food is made in California. Like that's the only place with consistent weather.
So, okay.
Yeah, there's a great as a Geography King, I think, is the YouTube channel. He's got a great video about what state produces the most of a certain produce, and 40 out of the 50 are California.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also insane because it's irrigation of the Central Valley, which is like. California has had so much of its administration, both of its natural resources and its government, like screwed up. Like if you remove the latest stupid thing we did, you'll find it's compensating for an even dumber thing. Yeah. And like you can go back 5 or 6 layers for basically everything in California.
Imagine if the Robins were retarded, but somehow persisted for a couple centuries. It's like that's kind of that's a proper city made by drunkards. We have improper city made by drunkards.
I've got a question for all three of you. I don't know if you're all in. Are you all in separate states?
We are. Yes.
Yes.
Could
we are.
Each of you try to in turn sell me your state as a potential tourist destination.
Oh boy.
As a tourist destination.
Yeah, for me to potentially visit.
We have a lot of alcohol and very, very fine looking women.
That's true.
Nashville is great. It's actually the bridal shower. No, what's the party that the women's do? Bachelorette parties. It's the bachelorette party capital of the world, I think, is
We
Nashville.
call that hen parties.
Hen parties, yes. A lot of hens in need of roosters. Last time I went there, I looked like Jason Momoa. Like I'm a 6 foot tall dude, and I had longer hair and all that stuff. And I'm just being a gentleman, being polite. I was like, good Lord, I would clean house here if I was single.
Yeah.
Not that I'd want to, but they're just good looking women. It's really good.
Yeah, lots of tens, I can definitely attest to this. As apparently a 9.
As far as history goes, you're going to talk about how hot the women are still, Luna?
Oh,
go on, yeah, you're good.
Oh God. Okay, it's so bad that apparently I attract women in a state that like is traditionally known as being very conservative. I'm like, how do I attract all of these lesbians? Like, this is one of those states you don't think there are any lesbians at all.
Well, they're motivated sellers, so they're going to go out and get it. In terms of history, though, Appalachia is one of the oldest parts of the populated United States.
Yes, it's
and
true.
in the Smoky Mountains, you get a very ancient. Not ancient, but you get maybe it is ancient because these people are not that changed from when they left Scotland and Ireland originally. Yeah. Those are the Protestants who came over after fighting for William of Orange, came to the colonies, settled in Appalachia. I guess it reminded them of the Scottish Highlands, and a lot of their culture is frozen. It's one of the most interesting places to go. Just where I live, there are people that just don't have electricity because they just choose not to.
Okay, so I know a lot about Tennessee too. They got whitewater rafting. They got a lot of museums. One of the biggest aquariums is in Nashville, I think. It's Nashville.
He'd probably have to stay near Nashville because that's where the airport is, and the state is massive. This state is like 400 miles across.
Yeah, it's like which direction are you going? Because it's very long and very short.
Civil War battlefield in Tennessee. I'm going to look around and see if there's Civil War stuff because we do have Civil War things here, but it wasn't any major. We have Andrew Jackson, who was the most based president in history. His residence is here, actually.
Oh yeah, I've been there. It's really cool.
You ever heard of Andrew Jackson, Samson?
I think so.
Yeah, he was the
president who fought a bunch of duels and like beat a guy with a stick.
He was an old man
and running around with multiple bullets in his body.
Trail of Tears.
He was also the general in New Orleans, I think.
He's pretty much our Indian basher, actually. He's kind of like and he hates banks.
Also, toppled the first U.S. bank.
Yep.
And his parrot attended his funeral, so he had a pet parrot. The parrot had spewed out obscenities for the entire time until eventually the parrot had to be escorted out of the building during the funeral. So proper American. Shot a lot, cursed a lot, won political office. But a lot of these people's these historical figures in America, their houses are preserved.
Yep.
But I wouldn't necessarily recommend coming to Tennessee unless you're just here for a good time.
Yeah, I know that they have a pass that you can buy for like $60 and it allows you free entry into a bunch of stuff over there. I know because my boss told me, but so Tennessee's only about I think Nashville's only about a 2.5 hour drive for me. So they're like, oh yeah, you want to go have fun? Go have day trips in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Huntsville's got some of the best. So down to Alabama, where Luna is, Huntsville has some of the best military museums that I've seen. Like one of them is put together by just a bunch of veterans who volunteer, right. And this place is wall to wall, like Revolutionary War up to Vietnam, I think. Stuff.
I mean, right?
I'm sorry.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Alabama basically like economically runs on military-industrial complex and aerospace, right?
Yes. Oh God, yes.
Where are we sending our Nazis?
Von Braun. Where do you think he went? They went to Alabama.
By the way, Americans are not bothered by Operation Paperclip. I find they're like, aha, it's funny, but we don't actually. We're like, good for us. We got good talent. Yeah. We're very strange people. Like we don't.
Yeah, the Civic Center is named after Werner von Braun. Like we name things after that guy.
Yeah, those guys are good. I mean, it's not. They stopped the whole Holocaust thing, right? They don't do they left the Holocaust back home. They came here and assimilated. What are you going to do?
Pretty much.
I mean, the war of Northern aggression had pretty much massacred tons of Southerners. Like, we have to live alongside people who massacre us anyway. So it's like,
yeah.
Whatever.
I do know that apparently they're moving Space Force to Huntsville now.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard that recently. Locally,
Yes.
that apparently they're moving the headquarters from Colorado, which was a dumb thing to do anyway. They should never have put it in Colorado.
That was Biden's bullshit, trying to help out his Democrat.
Well, Biden's bullshit, and then they asked a general who had owned a bunch of land in Colorado, apparently. And so, of course, he's going to say, yeah, bring it to Colorado where there's no housing and it's a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he made bank off of that. And then Trump was like, no, we need to move it to Huntsville. And I'm like, good. Except for, so Huntsville was a little podunk town that they made this massive NASA hub. And so we have an arsenal and we have NASA and we have a bunch of military industrial complex funding. Like all of the major MIC companies that you can think of all at least have branches in Huntsville. Boeing, Teledyne, Brown. It's like, oh yeah, you can go down this street and you'll find all these companies that you've never heard of. There's an exceptionally large amount of money, and the land is fairly cheap across the United States. So it's kind of like, you know, the joke how like out in the Baltics they have some of those nations where it's a little itty bitty poor rural area, and then there are these guys driving these luxury cars. It's kind of like that, except for that the wealth has been there long enough that they've been able to build, so it's kind of like a new city, if that makes sense. It's changed drastically over the 30 years I've lived there, or 33. I'm 33. Yeah, so it's beautiful countryside. You know, you go down, you see all the little cows and the pastures and the swamplands, because Alabama is a lot of swamplands. And then you see like major mega city where there's not like crime is not very high. But the homeless population is starting to grow because they bulldozed a bunch of the low income housing and are starting to build a bunch of luxury apartments. And they decided that was a good idea to build the luxury apartments near the poor areas of towns, like the slums.
I'm changing my state allegiance back to my my proper home state of
of
Maryland. Hell yeah.
Mm.
Okay, go to Maryland. Okay, all right. So obviously you have the nation's capital right there, so all the Smithsonian. You also have tremendous numbers of historic houses in Baltimore you can go visit. There's just random stuff is around. Like there's the tower that we used to make bullets in. It's this long tower we'd drop lead into water to quench it. And there's Edgar Allan Poe House. There's museums all over the place, like the Museum of Museum of Military Medical History is there, going back from the Civil War. If you just type in the word museum and look at a Google Maps of Maryland, tons of stuff is going to pop up, and you get to just take your pick. Obviously, if you want to go visit a zoo, there's the National Zoo. The Smithsonian has probably dozens of museums under it, including the National Portrait Gallery. It is also now safe because of Trump's put the National Guard in there, so you can just walk around and freely enjoy yourself.
Yay.
There's an Amtrak. Union Station operates both the metro, so there's a proper tunnel system there for a metro. So you get a nice pass, an all-day pass, and you can just travel all around DC for the cost of the pass. Union Station also merges up with Amtrak, so if you started in Boston, and you could go take the Amtrak all the way down to Union Station, then just get a pass for the metro, and then you're free to travel around Washington, D.C. as much as you like.
Oh, the trains are great up north. Don't go down south with the trains. But yeah, the trains are great up north.
You can take that train all the way down to Daytona Beach, Florida, actually. It's the Sanford line to, I think Sanford to Union Station is the only Amtrak that will transport your car.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can actually just transport your car up. Anyways, yeah. So Maryland is great. The density is fantastic. There's lots of stuff there, tons of cultures around, a lot of historical stuff, and it's a great way to get down into Virginia, where I believe the United States Marine Corps Museum is, as well as the historic houses of there we go. All right, so he's the Virginian. So there
Well,
we
yeah.
go.
If
I'm
we're
hearing
gonna like sell you our states, like
yeah, I'm just gonna.
I would be selling, like, if I was to sell Arizona to you, it would be like as a prank. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
same with
there's
Alabama.
wonderful natural beauty. There's architectural stuff to see out here.
If you need to get rid of a body, it's a good place to go.
Like
Yeah.
most of the year, you are coming into 45 to 50 degrees Celsius during the day, all season.
Yeah.
It is ridiculously hot. You have to drive to everything, and like there's great stuff out here. I love the Phoenix area.
Yeah.
It is not a casual vacation. So instead,
Okay.
I recommend my spiritual homeland of Virginia.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the places you're going to want to go are like original 13 colonies, especially further up north.
if you hit Boston, then down to Philly, and then to Washington D.C., skip Baltimore if you want. It's all right, but skip Baltimore.
Skip Baltimore.
Yeah, skip Baltimore. It's a crime-laden hellhole. Anyways, and then down to Virginia, that would probably be a great freedom trail in terms of like, or the Liberty Trail, I'd say, of places to go visit. If you like Fallout 4, you can go and visit all the landmarks in Boston, which are there.
Richmond is also a treasure. It's incredibly historically well preserved, and there's a lot of history in that town.
Yeah. We have the oldest building in the United States is actually all the way down in Florida, St. Augustine. We took the building brick by brick at some old monastery, which is pretty funny.
Cool.
So it's technically the oldest building in the United States.
Yeah, Florida is definitely a place you might want to visit too. It's really cool.
It's a good vacation, like proper chilling.
Yeah, but you want to go there in summer because not in summer, in winter, not in summer. Because it gets, I know that gets really hot, especially if you're used to the British climate or the UK climate.
It's our Spain, essentially.
Yeah. I got quite close to Florida when I went to the Dominican Republic, but and also Turks and Caicos. Actually, that's closer. I've been there.
Was that just a holiday?
Caicos. That's very nice. Yeah, I went on holiday there at one point.
Okay,
a couple years ago.
Nice. Yeah. All right. I think we laid that out to you pretty well.
No, thank you very much. I'm going to need to head off very shortly. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, man.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much good to go here too, guys. So I might just end this thing up. And Samson, if you just stay by for like another minute or two, I just want to ask you a couple questions offline.
I can do that.
All right. Good deal. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.